to get my best suit on.
We're on live. So yeah, we're live, and British James is with me. He's just got his streaming license renewed, so he's good to go.
Yep, got the suit on as well. I've got my good suit on. It's the Sunday suit. If I was still religious, it'd be the Sunday church suit.
So I don't really have a ton of topics to talk about tonight. I just felt like bullshitting because I was just awake. But one thing been on my mind a little bit lately. As you may have caught on, if you're a regular listener, I happen to have a bit of a fondness for Nintendo. And I likes me some Smash Brothers. I don't have the new Smash Brothers game. I'm hoping Santa brings it to me. But I don't have it yet. But one thing about it has always pissed me off. I hate, and I mean I fucking hate, the competitive pro Smash player scene. Fuck these guys. Fuck these spurgs. These stupid fucking spurgs, okay? You know, maybe, just maybe, if you have to shut off half the fucking features of a game, maybe you're not actually as good at it as you'd like us all to believe. Oh, Bechtloff, they could probably beat you. Well, yeah, I suck at it. I just like it for fun. That's not the point. The point is, if you went to one of these tournaments and you know, no, the items are on and you're going to play on fucking Hyrule Temple. How about that? These people would have literal autistic fucking meltdowns. Like, they would be on the floor screaming and kicking, okay? If 1 year you're just like, everybody's just getting assigned a random fucking character, they meltdowns across the board. Across the fucking board. Like, and the reason is, and this is true of all competitive video games, like esports is some of the cringiest shit in the world, in my opinion. I'm sorry if you love it. I'm sorry. Hopefully you'll get laid one day. But I'm sorry. It's some cringy fucking shit. It's a level of autism that my comic book collecting, Nintendo loving ass can just not get on board with. Okay? Because for one thing, esports in general want to suck the fun out of a game. That's going to be their fucking, like, that's going to be the boundaries of their tournament is going to be, how can we make this as not fun as possible? And that's never more clear than with the Smash Brothers pros. Because Smash Brothers is a game that's meant to be just fun. It's meant to be mostly a party game. That's why there are random chaotic elements in it. But see, these kids are these fucking spurgs are so autistic that they can't stand any random element appearing in their game, because then they'd actually have to improvise a bit, which their beep boop autistic robot brains can't fucking handle. I can't stand these guys, and they're so fucking serious about it. Like, oh, you play with the items, you pleb. Like, yeah, I like to have fun. Well, I'm sorry. I like to have fun. Okay.
Well, I was going to say, if you have to butcher most of your game to make it esports friendly, because here's the thing. I mean, I was talking to Chris a couple of hours ago on this. Like, Counter-Strike does it perfectly. It doesn't have to, like, if you have to like I don't understand with, like, you know, tournaments, they'll say, oh yeah, you can't use this character or yada yada yada. I can understand, like if someone took a game and says, oh yeah, we'll make a e-sport out of it, that's fair enough. But if you end up destroying almost, I mean, okay, so look at Smash. You have to basically play on the same stage, Final Destination. You have to play on the same fucking setting, so you can't have any items, which makes fucking Smash fun. You're gonna play as fucking Star Fox, so all the characters gone. It's like, why didn't you just?
I don't understand how that's fun to watch.
Why didn't you just play YouTube videos?
If you're somebody that likes to watch esports, okay, wouldn't the random chaotic elements make it more fun for you to watch? Yeah. Like, do you really want to watch the same smelly autist play the same 2 or 3 characters on the same 1 or 2 stages over and over and over again? Do you want to see them playing Melee for the 47th fucking time because they love the fact that they can exploit the borderline glitches in the physics engines? Is that really so great? And you could be like, Bechtloff, come on. I thought you were all about, you don't like to judge how other people have fun. And you're right. You're right. And I mostly just like to silently judge how other people have fun. But here's the thing about it. That shit affects the game in general. Has started to, with Melee, it was perfect for the competitive people because, again, there were these exploits that these damn near glitches in the physics engine these spurgs could exploit. But then with Brawl, now I really like Brawl, but you may remember in Brawl they had a random tripping animation for your character. As your character moved around, randomly they would trip up a little bit. And this is like half a fucking second. But that was enough to throw off the autistic fucking programming in these idiots, these spurgs. And they had a meltdown over this shit.
Fucking salt. Here's the thing, I'll disagree with you on a slight element.
Now, here's the thing, though. I like this tripping mechanic. I really, really like it, and it's gone. It didn't go into Smash 4. It didn't go into Smash Ultimate. It's fucking gone because these spurgs flipped the fuck out about it because they just couldn't. They can't improvise to anything random appearing. And guess what? You know what? Esports likes to pretend like it's real sports and all. Guess what? In real sports, people trip up a little bit, no matter how skilled a man is. Occasionally a muscle gets pulled. Occasionally the ground is a little uneven. Whatever. There's always these random elements that this person can never predict or, You want to make it as predictable and robotic as possible to show that you can push the exact same buttons in the exact same order each time. As I said, I don't understand how that's exciting to watch. But I don't like when the game starts. I wish we had the tripping. Now, okay, I would be fine with the tripping mechanic being able to be turned on or off because I just generally think the more customization you allow, the better. Because, different people are going to have different house rules when they play, and that's fine. But it's gone. It's gone because the Spurgs had a fucking meltdown about it. And, Brawl in many ways was one of the best of this fucking series. I saw a chart once that compared all the Smash Brothers games to the Star Trek shows. And they said, the first Smash Brothers is like the first Star Trek show. It's outdated but charming. The Melee is like TNG. Its Spurgy fans never shut up about it, despite its obvious flaws. Brawl is like DS9. It's overlooked because it doesn't appeal to the Spurgs, but it's actually got the deepest, most complex, dark story.
Don't care about the black people.
And then then they were like Smash 4 is like Voyager, so much potential, so much wasted potential. But no, it was a cool chart because Brawl is so fucking underrated. And everyone wants to shit on Brawl because it's not tournament friendly. It's not autist friendly. Hell, the Subspace Emissary or whatever the fuck the story mode was called in Brawl, while it definitely overstays its welcome, it's pretty fucking cool. And I'm kind of glad with the World of Light thing that they're going back to doing some sort of story mode. Now I've heard mixed things about the World of Light. We'll see. Like I said, I haven't gotten to play it, but I don't know. I can't get behind these fucking esports guys. I can't. It's just a level of autism I cannot get behind. And mostly because you suck the fun out of it. Smash Brothers is in serious business, okay? If you're taking seriously a game where Kirby is beating up Bayonetta, I think you're doing life wrong.
Well, I'll be the I'm the only fucking counterpoint to you on this stream anyway. I think what the esports people are doing, they're taking the gentleman's agreement and then taking it to the autismal fucking level. It's like, we're not gonna have any variables to have fun. It's like, for example, I mean, we're talking about this way before the stream. It's like when you're doing, let's say, for example, playing any fucking game split screen, like it could be Mario Kart, it could be fucking Worms. You're not going to do any dick moves because as soon as you do a dick move, you give the other person you're facing, you're giving them the sort of like, okay, it's like, I'm going to do the same thing to you.
Yeah, but so many of the Melee players, it's like nothing but dick moves.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They're autismal.
It's like this legalism approach to the quote-unquote gentleman's agreement. Like, what's the thing I know the Melee players like to do it a lot. I can't remember off the top of my head if you can do it in the other ones. But where, you kick the guy off the edge, and then you can, like, lean your character off the edge so that they can't grip onto the edge. Like, I mean, that's a kind of a dick move. But the Melee players, that was their signature fucking move.
Are you sure this is not like the Catholic Church becoming a new video game? I mean, the amount of fucking legal autism.
Well, I don't believe there's any pedophilia being covered up at the Smash tournaments. Yeah, although these days it wouldn't fucking surprise me.
Yeah, but with the amount of kids being fucked up from these events, it's like might be the same sort of thing.
Somebody in the chat asked, if I bought you the Town with No Name plus the POS controller it was released for, would you review it? Maybe if I like would I can't figure out if that game is compatible on the PC. Let me put it this way. If I had it on the PC, and I could stream it, I would play it and review it. But I don't know if it'll work. I mean, it is a piece of shit game from 20 years ago. But you never know. Sometimes the old games, it's not that it's your PC isn't powerful enough to handle it, just won't recognize them or whatever.
Well, Chris is too much of a boomer to get it to work.
Yeah, don't expect me to be able to get it to work is what I'm warning you.
Yeah.
If I can get it to work and I can stream it, I guess I'll download the OBS program again and stream it for you. Because it is a fascinating. I've seen a bunch of reviews of it now because I saw the Angry Video Game Nerd review of it, and then afterwards YouTube suggested like some guy named Brutal Moose, who's not a bad game reviewer. He just reviews a bunch of shitty PC games from back in the day they don't give a crap about. But he did a review of it. A few other people have talked about it. It's a fascinating train wreck of a game, that's for sure. Oh, speaking of game reviews, Geek Critique did a great one on Sonic 06. And I know Sonic 06 is a topic we all beat to death, but he was a longtime Sonic fan and that kind of thing. And he really talked about how not only was it a bad game, but it was a bad game that came out at the perfect time. It came out right at the right when YouTube became a thing. And it was a bad game that was bad in ways that are funny and easily dissectable. It's not a boring kind of bad. So it just became what Sonic was known for. And as he put it, to the point where, you know, you have like this other reviewer, Scott DeWaz, I think he's like 12, but you have these younger reviewers, they show up and they review the first Sonic game and call it Birth of a Laughingstock because the character really is at this point. And I mean, I say this somewhere, I used to love Sonic, and when I look back, it's like there were parts of the Sonic franchise I really, really loved, but as I look back at the overall history of Sonic the Hedgehog, it's not even most of it. Like, I love the Genesis era games and Mania, and I love the Sat AM cartoon with Princess Sally and the comic book it inspired, but everything else about it is shit.
I'd actually say it's the fucking Halloween when it comes to like just classic 16-bit characters. It's like the first sort of like the original fucking basis is perfect. It's like you can't argue. The first is kind of ropey. The second is, I would say, close to perfect. I never actually played the Sonic and Knuckles on the
Sonic 3 and Knuckles.
console.
When you combine the two and you play that game the way it's meant to before they had to break it up, is in my opinion, I would say it's the best 16-bit era game. It's possibly my favorite game ever. It's easily my favorite 2D platformer ever. It is as close to perfect as I've ever seen a 2D platformer be.
Oh yeah, solid.
But I mean, Sonic's never had a good 3D game. I'm sorry, nerds. The adventure games suck.
Yeah,
they do. Let's be real.
At best, they will always be in. And here's the thing: I'm not even a big fan of. Is it Super? Like, I think the N64 is the bit. I mean, I know you'll say the GameCube is the most overrated piece of shit. I'd say the N64 is fucking way more rated when it comes to that shit. Mario 64, I can still see why it's considered good. It's fucking playable. Like, you can
Mario
play the levels. And it feels
and Ocarina of Time are probably the only things on the I guess Majora's Mask too. But they're the only things on the N64 that I think deserve the hype.
Yeah.
The rest of it, I mean, like Banjo-Kazooie's not that fucking fun. Okay? I can understand why it was impressive at the time. It hasn't aged well. Conker's Bad Fur Day is funny, but that's all it is.
Yeah, here's the thing. With Conkers, you may as well just play on the Xbox. I mean, fair enough, you're not going to get the swearing, but at least you get a controller that doesn't look like a Fisher-Price abortion.
You know, I mean, GoldenEye, yeah, again, impressive at the time, but not now.
What's the controller? It's like, look at the N64 controller. You got 3 fucking handles. It's like, was this designed for fucking inbred morons?
Yeah, it's a fucking little joystick in the center of it.
Look,
yeah, I don't.
Look, I know you don't like the GameCube, but at least the GameCube, it looks like a fucking. It looks like a Nintendo. Like the SNES controller is perfect. It's probably the best.
I don't hate GameCube. I just think it's overrated because I think that was that and the Wii U are Nintendo's lowest points in their history. As much as everyone wants to look fondly on the game back on the GameCube if they happen to have one, the fact of the matter is, I remember I wasn't a gamer, quote unquote, in the 5th generation. I missed out on that. I was getting back into it towards the tail end of the 6th generation, like around 05. But I mean, I had friends that were into that and all. Like, most people had a fucking PS2.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, yeah, the Xbox. Not many people had a fucking Xbox, but not a lot of people had a fucking GameCube. And then when you look back on the GameCube, I mean, what really even was there on it?
Well, you said that.
If you were a Donkey Kong Country fan, holy shit, did you have a rough time on the GameCube? Hey, you want to play with fucking banjos? Or bongos? You want to? And it's a music game. You mean we're gonna be playing Donkey Kong music? No, you're gonna be playing shitty fucking 2003 pop music. How about that?
Yeah, do you want to play 99 Balloons on a fucking bongo where you could either, if you had an Xbox...
You want to play some Blue Cantrell and some fucking Good Charlotte on a bongo?
No, I'll say this. I'll defend this, because here's the thing.
Then they put out a 2D platformer, and you'd think, okay, now we're going to have some... Nope, you're playing it with the bongo, asshole.
Yo, Grandpa, it wasn't just fucking bongos. We had other games, believe it or not.
I'm just saying, if you were a Donkey Kong fan, you can't deny the GameCube was the worst of times.
Yeah, the bongos were the low point. It's like, okay, you went from Donkey Kong Country and the N64/SNES games. They were fucking. I mean, a lot of people even consider fucking N64 fucking. Is it Donkey Kong?
It was called Donkey Kong 64. And yeah. I know a lot of fans of Country weren't that fond of it because it wasn't what they wanted, but at least you weren't playing it on a fucking bongo.
Yeah, at least you didn't have to smash a set of fucking plastic bongos, which I did have, funnily enough, because that was one of the fucking games I had.
I don't know, man. I think it was like a year or two ago I got a GameCube, and I had played a few GameCube games when I first got my Wii, because it was backwards compatible. And there were a few real gems, like, Paper Mario, Thousand Year Door, obviously. But... Melee is overrated as fuck, as we were covering earlier. Well, Double Dash is one of the weakest of the fucking Mario Kart games. Sunshine is okay, but like I play, and again, I'm a huge Mario guy. Played it once. I will probably never in my life have the urge to play it again. I don't know what was the Zelda game? Oh, the fucking Wind Waker was a Zelda game, and I'm sorry. With all love to my former co-host Undertow. Wind Waker's overrated as fuck.
Well, did you play Luigi's Mansion? Because that was my first game. Same with.
I played it. I can understand why people like it. I didn't really get into it much. Well, actually, kind of the same with the Prime games, to be honest. And I did recently, in the last few years, get really into the 2D Metroids. The Prime games just didn't quite connect with me for some reason.
Well, they're different games. I'm probably going to give the most controversial point to you right now. I think the best Capcom game ever made is Resident Evil 4.
I couldn't tell you. I never really played it.
And I would say, if you've not... Here's the thing. Resident Evil as a franchise is fucking hilarious. It's almost like a Nightmare on Elm Street case where it's like there's not a single... Everyone fucking knows it, but you kind of only know sort of faint memories of it. But then you'll get the occasional film that works.
Somebody mentioned Twilight Princess on the GameCube. It wasn't also on the Wii, in all fairness.
Yeah, that was the Wii. That was the Wii as well.
I got to be honest with you. Again, it's not one of the Zelda games that really connected with me. I got halfway through Twilight Princess and just felt like I'd rather have been playing fucking Ocarina of Time or something.
Well, did you play Beautiful Joe as well? Because that was a fucking amazing game.
Yeah, that game was good. I did like that game
because that was the Capcom. I mean, this was something.
When I got my Wii, I got 3 GameCube games that I had held on to for a while, and 2 of them were collections. One of them was the Sonic Gems collection, which I only picked up because it was the only way I knew that I could play Sonic CD, which again overrated as fuck. And I don't know what to tell you. People want to tell me that's the best Sonic game. Like, no. No,
Sonic
I'll
Mania
put
is the
Sonic
best.
1, 2, and 3 and Knuckles ahead of Sonic 3D. I will even put Sonic 1 ahead of it. I'm sorry. But what else? I had that. I had Mario Paper Door. That was really good. Mario Paper
I
Door.
didn't
Paper
play that,
Mario
mind you.
Thousand Year Door. And I had a Zelda collection that was Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask and Zelda 1 and 2 from the NES. But those were the GameCube games I had when I had my Wii. I played a few other GameCube games because at the time, like the Wii was still new, so the GameCube games were pretty cheap. They're not now, that's for sure. But I remember playing like Double Dash and Melee and stuff, and I'm like, these kind of suck. Like I'd rather be playing Mario Kart Wii or Brawl.
Well, again, I was raised on, when it comes to modern Mario games, I was raised on the original Mario Kart DS. I remember actually going to fucking, and mind you, this was prior to when my house had fucking Wi-Fi. I used to go to like pubs and just general like fucking, we'd actually go to, me and my brother used to go to McDonald's restaurants where they used to have free Wi-Fi, and we'd go there to play like fucking free matches. And no, I mean, Mario Kart Double Dash, it wasn't bad. It was gimmicky. It wasn't bad.
Because like Mario Kart is like, I don't know, it's like pizza or sex.
I'll say
even when it's bad, it's still pizza or sex. You know what I mean? So yeah, even
Matt,
the shittiest Mario Kart game is still Mario Kart.
I'd say this Mario Kart 64, because I was raised on the Mario. Well, I'm a Super Mario Kart guy. I think it's the perfect line between fun and skill, because most Mario Kart games just aren't. I don't find them that fun, and I don't find them that fucking hard. But when it came to games, sort of that kind of filled it. See, like Crash Bandicoot. That's the funny thing. Crash's main games, I didn't find that fun, but their racing game, I thought was fucking perfect.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of good things about it.
Matt has said this, I think, on the last stream. When it comes to a remake, if they ever put it on the Wii or like one of the Switch, or let's say, for example, if they do a PC remaster, which they probably do because they did release it for, I know they did the Crash HD remaster for Steam. They did that after the PC release. It's what Mario Kart should have strived for. It felt like a world, like, you know, when you look at the original Mario games, it's basically just level to level. There's no world to it, and then you get to Mario 3, and it adds the sort of open world element to it. You can choose a path, and you've got the fucking characters on screen. That's what they did with CTR, and it's what worked. And I'm surprised Nintendo never went for that, because it still feels like the same shit. Whenever I play a Mario Kart game, it's the same fucking shit. And I'm not saying it's bad, because I always find it fun. Like,
Mario Kart tries very hard to be the party game. I think, again, I haven't played the Switch version of 8, the deluxe version, but I was very, very blown away by 8 on the Wii U. And if I'm being honest with you, I don't know why it's crapped on. I really, really liked Mario Kart on the Wii. And at that point, I had only ever played the Super Nintendo one, because at the point where I got my Wii, it was around 05, made in like where I got a PS2, a Super Nintendo, and a Genesis all that year when I got back into gaming. And I think around 07, I got the Wii. And I remember liking the motion controls in Mario Kart Wii. I thought they were incredibly intuitive. Now, I didn't like the motion controls in most games on the Wii. Most games on the Wii did not implement them well. The Mario Kart on the Wii, though, I'm sorry, the little steering wheel thing that you put your controller in, that thing worked perfectly. I was actually able to get my dad to play it because he was like, "Oh, I'm holding a steering wheel. I understand this," and he did okay with it. The motion controls on that were fine. I never had a problem with them. I know a lot of people bitch. Maybe I'm in the minority, but it was like a steering wheel to me. I had no problem with it.
You mentioned your dad playing games. I tried to get my dad to play Doom. He almost had motion sickness after episode 1. He got there eventually, but it was like, son, I've got like fucking episode 1 is too much.
But yeah, I like the Wii a lot, and
I'll say this,
dude. I've insulted Wind Waker, so Undertow is frantically messaging.
Yeah. What, is he actually messaging you on Skype? Get him in on the stream.
He wants on, dude. He wants out of his self-imposed
Yeah.
fucking.
Well, no, I will still stand by this point.
If you
Get
say Wind Waker sucks 3 times in a mirror,
Well, yeah.
Undertale appears.
Yeah.
I'll send you a link, dude. That's fantastic.
Oh my god, that's brilliant. So I've not spoken to that guy in fucking months. Okay, I'm trying to think.
Like he is frantically messaging me on 3 different places. He's in the chat. He's on Skype. He's on Facebook.
He's not in chat. Let me find him. I don't see.
Oh, dude.
Oh, there he is. Nano Squid. Yeah, he's checking on Facebook. Oh,
He's
look,
never even on
I love
Facebook,
you, buddy. I mean, you sent me the MAGA hat, but come on.
He's logging on to Facebook to get in here.
I mean, we
Dude,
can talk about this.
Remember when they announced the Wind Waker amiibos?
Oh no!
On a link with his little wand, I was like, it looks like a cock and balls. I was getting so pissed.
Yo, buddy, what's going on?
Hey, and Merry Christmas to both of you.
Hey,
Merry
man,
Christmas.
how you doing?
Oh, can you not hear me?
Yeah, we can hear
No,
you.
we can hear
fine,
you.
man.
Yeah,
Oh,
Merry
really?
Christmas indeed.
Oh, okay, good. Okay, cool. I didn't see the levels going up and down. Yeah, how you guys been?
Not bad. How are you, man?
Zelda's still shit though.
What's that?
Sorry, I was going Bechtloff.
Here's the thing. You're actually incorrect because Wind Waker is not overrated because most people hate it.
Oh no! I
It
didn't.
only seems overrated because I love it personally so much.
No, honestly, I'm listening to different people than you. Everybody wants to tell me Wind Waker is one of the best Zeldas.
It's
And
definitely
underrated, yeah.
It's definitely not, but it has.
You'd say it's underrated though.
What's that?
Would you say Wind Waker's underrated? Because a lot of people mention that.
No, because it is not a very. I mean, it's so the Miyamoto quote, "Rushed game is bad forever." That I think, if our memory serves, that was around the same time that Wind Waker came out. Because here's the thing with Wind Waker: there's like 6 or 7 dungeons that just got deleted from the game because of a deadline they didn't make. The reason I love Wind Waker so much is because I grew up in a coastal town, and I'm very, very attached to nautical themes. And it was before Breath of the Wild. I think that Wind Waker actually had the best sense of forging your own path into the unknown and discovering things. It was still just as structured and just as linear as any of the other Ocarina style Zelda games.
I sort of view the GameCube time, and I know a lot of people had it and they were fond of it, but it just seemed like the time when I got the Wii, I felt like Nintendo was back. And that could just have been my own personal experience, but I just remember nobody.
Let me. I'm going to say I'm going to agree with that because the GameCube, and I think Undertow's going to itch to. I think agree with me because I'm going to make this point. The GameCube was solid, but it wasn't a fucking triumphant note. It had again, I would still argue the best Capcom game they've ever made is Resident Evil 4. I just think solidly when it comes to even reviews, like the official Nintendo magazine in the UK even had it as like their fucking 3rd best game, just under the original Donkey Kong fucking N64, and I think Metroid Prime 1 was the only games that fucking bested that.
And I understand the the GameCube guys, all like think that it's crapped on too much. Because in all fairness, I think the Wii U was crapped on a bit too much.
Yeah.
Was it a good system? Not really. Was it a financial success? Obviously not. But frankly, that whole generation was ass. I mean, when I look back and I'm like, am I sad that I got a Wii U over a PS4 or Xbox One? Fuck no. There was like a dozen games I loved on the Wii U. I couldn't name a dozen on the other systems.
So now that you're done raking my soul over the coals, can I respond?
Sure.
Go ahead, Frank.
No, I actually think you're right. The GameCube era was not a particularly good one for Nintendo, but it's still my favorite, and here's why. You talked about actually Double Dash and Mario Sunshine and all of those games, and Metroid Prime as well was mentioned briefly, and that's all the GameCube era. That sixth gen Nintendo, and it's it's an era that I cherish for Nintendo because it's the last time, not the last time, but it's the time that Nintendo was going out on a limb more so than anything else, but on the software end. Pretty much since the GameCube era, they have gone out on a limb with hardware and then played it very safe with the game design. Now we're starting to come out of that, I would say, because Nintendo's finally shaking things up again. But because the GameCube era was so rocky financially, and really that was just because the PS2 was such a dominating force in the industry at the time. It wasn't really Nintendo's fault, but they just said, okay, whatever we're doing, we've got to stop it and we've got to change it. Yeah. Now, Mario Sunshine is like not great.
I wouldn't say it's a bad game. I just, like I said, I'm a huge Mario guy, and I played through it, and I don't know that I'll ever desire to play through it again.
Well, I think,
and the thing
I don't.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to interrupt. We were talking about this fucking almost a year ago. Sunshine has almost got a weird brevity to it. We've mentioned this before. It's almost like I don't know what term there's a term we actually mentioned. It's almost like polished before the actual game. Like if you played Sunshine, you can see the entire world from a certain point. Let's say, for example, you've got the harbor, you can see the fucking, the weird pier, and you can see certain areas. There's an almost perfect polished. It's a perfectly polished product, but it doesn't have the huge brevity that the average.
That's sort of the problem has. on a story level, on a world building level. It feels like a very cohesive place, but that can almost work against it in that you don't get the same variety you get out of it. Like because in the Mario 64, you're going into the magic paintings. I don't know. Did that transport you to a new place? Are they little pocket dimensions? I don't know.
Yeah, but the point is an excuse to sort of interpret it yourself.
You're in the desert one minute, you're in the ice the next minute. Where in Sunshine, you're sort of hankered down to this theme,
and as much as that is a problem,
it gets old.
As much as that is a problem, you do need to take a step back because. Like looking at the GameCube era, every single iteration of a game from a Nintendo series that was on that console was a variation or an aberration in the release cycle. So when you think about, okay, you have a snow area, a grass area, the desert area, whatever, that's every Mario game.
Yeah.
Except for Sunshine.
One of the problems I think the GameCube had, and it's just because I remember, again, not being really a gamer, but I remember just the impressions I got. It had a marketing problem similar to the Wii U, in my opinion. I remember, I remember when Sunshine came out, and for some reason, everyone I knew, and myself included, had it in our head that this was some sort of anti-pollution thing, him with his flood. That it was some sort of gay Captain Planet message.
Yeah. The days of the halcyon days of yore, where you could worry about that, and that was the worst political.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but it just and it wasn't like it wasn't something that was just going on in my high school or something. I remember a lot of people had that impression. Like I had early internet at the time, and everyone was convinced that this was Captain Planet, the Mario game. And, I don't know where that came from. But it was really
here's where it came from. If that game had been made in America, that's exactly what it would have been.
Well, yeah, there's that problem.
The fact that it's the Japanese sort of cultural angle on it was just like, okay, well, we're making a game, right? Why would we try to have a message?
But I just remember a lot of marketing oddities like that where it didn't seem like Nintendo was really doing a good job of getting it.
Let me throw something out there for you. Do you remember what the release title for the GameCube was?
It was Luigi's Mansion, if I believe.
Luigi's fucking Mansion. Like, think about that for a second. That to me is why I like the GameCube era, is because Nintendo took a lot of gambles, and most of them didn't work out. Yeah. Luigi's Mansion did. Metroid Prime did. F-Zero GX did. At least critically. I don't know how it did commercially because it's freaking hard. But the thing that sort of was the klaxon saying this is what Nintendo's going to be going out on a limb and doing weird things this era, that was the fact that their release title was not only not with Mario starring it. It was Luigi, his brother. It's like, oh, that's an interesting twist. But then it wasn't even a platformer. It was a
fucking exploration game.
It's a survival horror game. It is the same mechanics as Resident Evil, except instead of guns, you have a vacuum, and
you're hoovering up cash. It may as well just be a Jew simulator. Let's just be honest.
If you take the little cutscene of the door opening in Resident Evil, and then you look at the door opening in Luigi's Mansion, it suddenly becomes extremely obvious. That's exactly what they were trying to do, and that is an incredibly weird thing. And the reason that era in particular resonates with me is because that sort of crazy out there, I have no idea what the next game is going to even be like sort of feeling. That is what I got into gaming for, because I started getting into video games with Sega, and that is what defined Sega, is we're going to do some crazy shit. And unfortunately, the one thing that the history of the game industry has taught us is that while that will create really fantastic games every now and then, it'll also create a lot of trash, and it's harder to market, and it is almost always going to fail commercially. With what happened to the Dreamcast, with what happened to Sega as
we're reaching a point now where the kids that had the GameCube growing up are now adults. And I mentioned Scott the Woz, and he runs a very great channel. He has very funny gaming videos, but there are times that there's enough of an age difference between me where I'm literally like, "You damn kid," and I'm realizing like there's a lot of there's a certain nostalgia goggles for the GameCube for these kids that I remember. Like the GameCube's name was Mud at the time, unless you were one of the guys that had it. And I was on the outside looking in with the game industry a lot. And again, when I went back to the GameCube, when I had my Wii and all, I found there were now part of that is when I had my Wii, I was getting back to Nintendo. I had gotten back into gaming, and now I'm like, I want to get back to those old favorites of Nintendo of mine. So to some extent, I didn't necessarily want the oddball shit.
So here's the thing. Like I said, I really became a gamer with the Dreamcast. And I, like if I ever get a tattoo, it'll be "Keep Dreaming" with the little swirl, because I'm that much of a faggot. But
is it going to be on your lower back?
No.
Could have that tramp tattoo.
Yeah, exactly. No,
because where the triangle would be pointing.
Joe, imagine fucking a woman and she's got a Dreamcast tattoo. What would you say to her?
Oh my god, hang on, I need to take a minute to cool down after that mental image.
Undertow and said
no. So I ended up begging my parents for a GameCube for Christmas one year, because that was where the port of Sonic Adventure 2 went. And I had obviously been a huge fan of the first one, and I was like, well, I want to see what's in the new version. I want to get everything I can out of this game, because we had the sort of Tamagotchi style mini game in there, the Chow Garden. So there was a reason to continue playing this, platformer thing that normally you wouldn't have any quote end game to keep you engaged for months on end. So that was my main motivation. And when that was ported to the GameCube, and then I saw stuff like Sega collaborated with Nintendo to make the newest F-Zero game, and Nintendo was now picking up the torch that Sega had dropped, and now they did what Nintendo did earlier, if you follow me. But, so it was like this. It was like this. I don't know. It was this
when I
had with what was going on during
when I got back into gaming in like 05, I started with like a hair up my ass that I wanted a Sega back. I wanted to play some classic Sonic again. And my girlfriend at the time ended up getting me one for my birthday. And then I discovered the retro game store in my area, which was just one location in the middle of nowhere at the time. And I got me a Super Nintendo, because that was the one I didn't have as a kid. The one that got away.
Yep.
That I played at a friend's house. So I got a bunch of Super Nintendo games. And then Ultimate Spider-Man came out. And at the time in Marvel Comics, the Ultimate Universe was awesome. And I'm looking at this video game, and again, I'm not really into modern games that much, but I'm looking at the cell shading, and I'm looking at because I had played a little bit of Spider-Man 2, the movie game, and I played the first Activision Spider-Man on my PC, and I'm looking at it, I'm like, this looks like a Mark Bagley drawing in 3D. This is some sort of fucking sorcery. How is this a thing? How is this video game based on what at the time was my favorite comic book? And how does it look like 3D versions of my favorite artist drawings? This is amazing. I have to get a PS2 now.
Fucking pixels, how do they work?
Yeah, I know. I was just I didn't know what the fuck cell shading was.
I've also got to ask this.
I'm like, what is this magic? What is this sorcery? What tiny wizard lives in this box that makes this happen?
I've got to ask Anto, as he mentioned Sonic, what do you think of the new movie poster? And do you think the film's going to be good? Do you think Sonic is right for doing squats? I mean, he's doing squats.
Last year,
it's
everybody was
take Sonic 06 and make it a movie.
Hang on. So last year, everybody was hugging and crying and saying, "We did it, everyone! Mania was good. Sonic is back on the map. Sonic is relevant and a good thing again." And I'm just sitting there like, you guys do realize that Sega didn't make that, right? And this is my vindication.
And you know what happened since then? They canceled the Archie comic and they gave us this movie.
And they also gave us Sonic Forces, which I just looked at. I looked at and I was like, yep, that's what I was
expecting. Dude, Sonic Forces is like, what if we took everything that's bad about modern Sonic games and just made it a game?
No,
I'm talking
it's worse than that.
I'm talking a shitty plot that thinks it has way more to say than it does. I'm talking broken 3D graphics.
That's where you're actually wrong.
Broken 3D physics, and I'm talking DeviantArt insert character.
That's not a problem with modern Sonic, my friend. That is a problem with adventure era Sonic.
Well, the thing is,
and that is the whole issue. Is they tried to go back to the adventure elements that were so popular, but they only brought back the bad parts of the adventure games, and they combined it with only the bad parts of the modern games. So it's a perfect storm of terrible.
I think the most recent 3D Sonic game I played was Lost World.
Yeah,
and I remember immediately hating it.
So bad,
because I'm like, why is there a run button in a game in which I have an analog fucking control stick?
Right, especially in a series that is supposed to be based around momentum.
Yeah, who the hell?
The thing that insulted me more about that game was the story. Here's the thing. Everything from the Adventure to 06 era, the quote dark age of Sonic, it took itself way too seriously eventually. The whole problem was it started off with this great sort of self-awareness, but not breaking the fourth wall self-awareness. It was just Sonic was very confident. Well, it was cheesy, but it embraced the cheese and it executed it in such a way that it was satisfying and it wasn't jarring, because I mean, yeah, you got this big cartoon animal guy, but they still put him in these sort of adventure, comic book scenarios, because the adventure storylines aren't serious dramas. They're comic book adventures with a supervillain. I mean, you've got they're having a Mexican standoff over the super weapon in orbit, and he, Dr. Eggman is holding Amy at gunpoint, and for the only time in the entire series, he proves himself to be smart by tricking Tails into revealing something, and it's the only time they've ever even bothered to make him anything other than a bumbling idiot. Apparently, a bumbling idiot that can design engineering for robots, or it makes no sense.
Figured out how to power a robot with a squirrel.
Yeah, he can make he can make planet destroying weapons, but can't destroy a fucking fox.
Here's the thing: the beginning of the adventure era was really wonky gameplay wise, because 3D was new. Trying to do 3D with Sonic was a nightmare from a design standpoint. They had no idea what to do, no idea what was going to work and what didn't. They were starting to get towards a better system, and then Heroes doubled back and changed too many things, and they lost track and just went off in every direction for the proceeding games. But story-wise, though, what's up?
Heroes is one of those games I got when I first got my PS2, because it's I remember Sonic, so I got the Sonic collection, and Heroes was $15. So I was like, okay. And I remember,
and you found out why it was $15.
Well, yeah. I remember at first I'm like, okay, this isn't I kind of like the first level.
Have you watched Super Bunny Hop's video that is the first level of every Sonic game?
Yes. And I'm like, and then the second level, I'm like, okay, well, maybe I couldn't quite tell at the time because I was so new to getting back into gaming. I'm like, is this bad or do I suck?
Yeah, no, it's bad.
A little from column A, a little from column B.
When I stumbled into the third level, I'm like, I think this is the game.
Yeah. Heroes is like, story-wise, that's where everything started to slip. Because Adventure 1 and 2
started.
What's that?
Did you say started?
Yeah. Oh, it was a very quick start, fittingly enough. It was a boost off of the starting line.
Yeah, it was a 90-degree angle.
Yeah, because the reason I say started is because even though the story was suddenly trash, and not that the Adventure 1 and 2 had good stories, they were pretty muddled and the translation was terrible, but it was executed with genuine effort. That's what makes it different. And also the fact that the characters had this consistent characterization in the first two games, Adventure and Adventure 2, that is.
Yeah.
And then everything starts flying off the rails. But Heroes, even though it had this horrific plot that made no sense, it still had the right tone. And obviously, what's the next game that came out after Heroes is Shadow. And that's where everything just completely lost the plot.
I kind of liked Shadow was another one I bought at that time, and I'm like, I'd heard nothing good about it, so I'm like, I'm kind of enjoying this just for the ridiculousness of it.
Your expectations were so low.
I'm a Sonic character, and there's weird elements of Grand Theft Auto in this gameplay.
The problem is that it could have worked because if they had just made it like a momentum-based interpretation of Ratchet and Clank
pathways, I'm like,
yeah.
In other words, I see why people shit on Shadow the Hedgehog. In my eyes, I'm like, this is. Everything people bitch about Shadow the Hedgehog to me is bitches I would have about almost every modern Sonic game.
Yeah.
I don't see how you're praising any modern Sonic game and shitting on this one.
Yeah. So my whole point that I was getting to is the adventure games were a little bit tongue-in-cheek, but they were still just comic book style adventures. Everything after that from the Dark Age of Sonic took itself way too seriously. And everything in the modern era of Sonic from Colors on doesn't take itself seriously enough, which is because the writing and everything, everyone's like, oh, good, it's all happy-go-lucky and these really cheap, humorous, it's a comedy. There was nothing particularly funny about Sonic,
what
it's
I kind of like
cartoons have to be funny.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're talking to somebody that, when I think of Sonic, my first thing is thinking of the Princess Sally cartoon, and that cartoon was pretty that's dark, but it was dark in kind of a smart way.
Right. That's the whole point, is it's all down to the execution.
It was dark in the Bambi's mom got shot kind of way.
Yes.
Not in the Shadow the Hedgehog kind of way.
Yeah.
But you know what story I actually like in a modern Sonic game? Is Unleashed, the one where he turns into the werewolf or whatever.
Yeah, you know what? That's actually the closest I think it comes to the old adventure sort of tone.
I don't even mind the werewolf levels. They're meant to be a change of pace. I think that they didn't have enough time to smooth over the physics engine on it. And the actual idea behind the werewolf levels, I think, okay, I have a Sonic level, and then I have I hate saying werehog because that's stupid. Yeah. Because, he's... Yeah. You don't call me a wereman if I turn into a werewolf.
The problem with a lot of the Sonic games in the modern era is I really get the feeling that Sonic Team wanted to do something different, but they weren't allowed by corporate to do anything with any of the old IPs.
Yeah, it's taken a half measure.
Yeah, so God of War was really popular at the time, and so those sort of beat 'em up games were something they probably wanted to dabble with. Sorry, what's that?
They could have done a 3D Streets of Rage if they wanted to do a beat 'em up,
Well, here's the thing. What does the werewolf hedgehog, what do his arms do in that game?
They stretch.
They stretch. You know another Sega character that has giant arms that stretch?
Vector Man did that.
Well, Rystar.
Oh shit, I forgot about Rystar. Yeah.
I'm willing to bet you, because Rystar is a Sonic Team game. I'm willing to bet you that somebody wanted to try out a God of War style game. And they're like, oh, what would be the perfect character to bring back for this would be Rystar. And I guarantee you, like 2 minutes into development, they were like, "Yeah, this is nice. Why isn't it Sonic? Sonic sells." Then they kicked him back into his cubicle and said, "Program it different. Get the art guy on the team. Whatever." And they walked out and then smoked 6 lines of blow or something. I don't know. It's like the thing that drives me crazy with everything by Sonic Team is that they could be doing Nights into Dreams. They could be doing Vector Man. They could be doing you know what else would be a good beat 'em up from Sega would be a Comic Zone reboot.
Oh yeah, or Golden Axe. If we had anything with Golden Axe for a while,
Golden Axe would be awesome.
Axe is pretty
dope. You know, they did
I'm gonna be honest. When I have like fantasies at night and I'm dreaming that I've become so super rich that I just bought Sega and I'm on the stage at E3 announcing that we're making games of everything.
They did in the Archie comics. They did crossovers between Sonic and Mega Man because they had the licenses for both.
I remember,
big dimensional ones. And the second one, Sigma is trying to like destroy all these parallel universes because that'll make him a god for some reason. And all these parallel universes are different Capcom and Sega properties. Like you had Street Fighter and shit like that. You had even different like Mega Man and Sonic worlds. Like the Sonic Boom world was one of them that was featured, and like Mega Man X was featured. The only Sonic Boom character we got though was the Badger, Styx the Badger, and she was actually pretty funny in it. But I kept seeing all these Sega properties that I hadn't seen in forever. Sadly, Vector Man and Rystar weren't there, but it's like Alex Kidd and fucking Golden Axe and shit. And I'm like, where the hell are these things, man?
Yeah.
Why are cameos in a fucking comic book the last time I've seen them in 15 years?
Well, they have 3D models for them that they made for the racing games. In Sonic All-Stars Racing, the like Lakitu guy with the flag, it was Rystar. He was just floating there with his little arms and he stretched them out and waved the flag around. Yeah. And it was like, oh, that's great. And then in another level, I think you would see Nights into Dreams would come down and do it. And it's like, hey, that's wonderful. Can we do this again? They did actually make a Knights game for the Wii, but it didn't get very good reviews and nobody wanted it because it was just a bunch of waggle crap. Like, duh, nobody likes that. Motion controls are still overly maligned. As
much as I defend the motion controls in Mario Kart Wii, because I think they really, really worked well there, I am hard-pressed to think of another time where I thought the best I could say on any other game was they were okay.
Literally anything involving gyro aiming.
That they didn't take away.
It's literally anything involving gyro aiming, Bechtloff. Let me tell you something. With Splatoon,
can I interrupt?
Yeah,
I like the motion controls in Mario Kart Wii. I think it adds something to it. I think it does almost nothing but take away from other games.
Well, no, you can say add, but I would say this. Find me a game which the regular controls are not as good as the quote-unquote gimmick controls when it comes to gyro shit. You will not find a single game where the gyro controls are better than the original.
Okay. I never had a problem with the controls. I really did think it kind of was immersive.
Aiming is the one thing that gyro is good for.
Because that's different, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. We all threw out motion stuff entirely like it was worthless, but aiming is truly the one thing that it was like needed for, because the amount of auto aim in games these days. There's an excellent video that a guy, I believe his name is Ryanator on YouTube. No, I'm sorry, that's a different YouTube. I'll have to look up his name, but there's somebody who made a video titled his first video that got him on the map was talking about the Majora's Mask 3D remake and how it changed a bunch of stuff, and he compared it to the George Lucas Star Wars stuff, which was really funny and entertaining. But he recently put out a video called Motion Controls and the what is it? Resistance to Progress or something. I don't remember what it is, but basically his whole point was everybody got really turned off and annoyed by the Wii letting all the casuals in and blah 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 and the waggle stuff that everybody hated. But the aiming controls being so much better with gyro assistance on stuff is completely being overlooked when it should be just the default way that we play shooters and things that require you to aim like that now. Because it is as someone who does both, I can tell you that gyro plus analog is almost as accurate as a mouse, and that's insane. But all that being said, actually, you mentioned crossovers, and that reminded me. I didn't actually come here just because you mentioned the GameCube era and Wind Waker. I actually came here to berate you for something that you put on Facebook and then quickly deleted. And I think you know what it is.
Spill it. I don't know what this is.
So the other day, Bechtloff posted a macro of the annoying nerd kid from Polar Express.
I deleted that because I meant to put it on the Bechtloff page, and I put it on my.
Well, I'm glad you made that error, because I'm here to explain
Jewish
to you.
Wise.
On the Bechtloff page. That's what I was talking about at the beginning. Like fuck off. I was shitting on pro Smash players at the beginning.
Okay, so why?
Because they get rid of all the chaotic elements, and that makes the
retarded.
Game not fun. And I think they do that because they're autistic as fuck, and they can't improvise with chaotic elements. It shuts down.
Do you have a pair of dice?
Do I have a pair of dice?
Yeah, like on you.
Not
Chris, no. It's a trap. He's gonna kill you.
I'm gonna make a point here. I'm gonna make a point here, because do you seriously believe that rolling a bunch of dice and making a bunch of shit fly all over the place on the screen is somehow more skillful than removing randomized elements?
Well, no, but there's always a fucking randomized element. Again, I think you can find a balance.
What's part of the point of the game is to adapt to the randomized elements.
Yeah, Undertow, do you always play Final Destination with Fox only, no items?
No,
you're not super skillful at a game if you have to shut off sections of the game. If I'm not the world's best chess player if I can beat anyone if we only play with the fucking games.
Okay.
Yeah, Undertow. Rooks only, no lanes.
Yeah, Rooks only, no lanes is not me fucking being skillful at chess.
That is an extremely disingenuous and inappropriate comparison.
Because I'm a disingenuous cunt.
It's not inappropriate or disingenuous.
Because
you're shutting off a large portion of the game.
Well, no, I can see where Undertow's going, because I think the tripping mechanics is fucking. It's kind of fucking random. Like, you'll go with me.
What I said about the tripping mechanic, I think that
Undertow, you'll go with this, right? Look at pro Counter-Strike stuff, right? That's finely tuned with how they do their scene. I can understand with that level. But I don't think Pro works at the same level with, because Smash is not Smash was not made to be like Counter-Strike. It's not a fucking pro game. It's
no,
a
certainly
game.
Not. Actually, the reason it became the way it did later on is because of the scene that grew up around it with Melee. What's wonderful is that they finally have given us the options to play both ways, so that you guys can sit around and randomly have things happen, and I can actually play a video game.
Yeah, so I would say actually, Undertow, before you say any point, no, Chris. I would
no. I'm playing the real game where I shut off half of it because I can't adapt to random.
I'm gonna let me give Undertow the perfect question before you even make any point, Chris. What is the ideal way if you were to do a professional Smash tournament? What is the perfect way of doing it?
There is no perfect way of doing it.
That's maybe your way. If you do it your Smash way.
Sure. The broad ideal of anything where you want to play it competitively is to eliminate randomization as much as possible, so that it's purely a comparison of skill levels rather than just.
But here's the thing: you get a lucky dice roll? An item falls on the ground, all right, and there's a skill level to go get it. You know, there. I mean, it's not like it's fucking handed to you randomly. Yeah,
there's a skill to tilting the stick and walking over and then pressing a single button.
You'd have to get it before the other person gets it.
Okay, that would be a point if it always appeared in the same spot.
And if it's the same
point is, it doesn't. It could just drop in your lap, literally, and then look, I just happen to have been given a bomb.
Part of life. Random things are part of life.
Sure, okay? But this isn't life. This is a video game.
You know, you can't be like, well, no, it's not fair. This random thing affected me, and you know what? In any
randomization that is fair,
affect you.
Okay, randomization that is fair. Here's an example. Mario Kart, I still would think that's fair. I don't get frustrated by random elements in Mario Kart because it's not completely random. There is an element of the people who are further back can get the better items, and the people up towards the front have to make do with lesser stuff because it's to keep everybody sort of in the same area. But with Smash Brothers, if I'm having a fist fight with somebody and, oh, look, next to them, they happen to have a bomb drop, well, I just lose because there's little I can do against that.
Okay. I mean, so what?
So
I'm not bothered by, and the other thing, it's not just the random elements. These are the same guys that got to have just the flat mega stages. They can't have anything.
okay, Chris, have you ever watched any actual competitive Smash?
I've watched some, yeah.
Okay.
I don't watch.
Then you'll have noticed that majority of it is not on that one stage. There's like 5 or 6 different stages that people tend to gravitate towards.
Yeah, Final Destination Part 2, Part 3.
Final Destination.
All the Omega stages.
That'd be a cunt. But actually, I don't think my original question was answered.
Okay. I'm sorry. What was it then?
Well, if you were to have a Smash tournament, because here's the thing, right?
Okay, the way I would set it up, it up with 5-minute time limits per round, 3 stock. I'd prefer not to have items because it's random. I do really like the addition of the final Smash meter. I would enjoy to include that. That's a nice touch because it lets you include the final smashes without having it be just a randomized whoever hits the smash ball that shows up, because that actually isn't a health item or doesn't have a health bar, so to speak. It's actually a random chance for it to break every time you hit it. That's another reason I don't like it.
I'd say
they have the final smash meter, which works kind of like other fighting games. Basically, now the way you can set it up is you can set it up as a quote party game, whatever genre that is, or you can set it up as a more like a fighting game, which I prefer.
This is where my ultimate problem goes. Smash is not designed to be esports. Why is it a fucking esports tournament? Like Counter-Strike is finely tuned to be a fucking esports game. It's competitive by its nature. It's made to be it. So
I really don't understand why you think that. I mean, like I agree on Counter-Strike, but I don't understand why you think that Smash wasn't designed with any of that in mind.
No. What I'm saying is, Smash is not designed to be an esports game. It's designed to be a party game. It's fun.
Well, if you have to shut half the game off to make it an esports game, I'm going to say it wasn't designed with that in mind.
Underco, you're admitting this. By default, most, like if for example, let's say theoretically I was to go to your house right now and have a game of Smash, you're not going to turn anything off. We're just going to have a game of Smash.
Sure.
So I understand having, for example, I've not played Smash in fucking years, and the last time I played Smash was Melee. Let's say, for example, you turn hammers off, or if I don't even know if that's even a fucking possibility. For example, hammers was the last fucking OP thing I remember. I don't think Smash should have ever been an esport. I can understand.
Here's where I'm coming
from.
Here's where I'm coming from. To me, part of the game in Smash is to adapt to random shit, to be on your feet, and to deal with the fact that sometimes the other guy's going to get a really powerful weapon, and you're going to have to deal with that. Sometimes there's going to be stage hazards that are going to push your shit in. That the stage is going to be all weird. To deal with the random, odd, chaotic elements of it is part of the game. So when I see these guys like, I'm the best at this game in the world, when I shut half of it off,
they're not saying they're the best in the world. They're saying that they're the best in the tournament scene.
I just,
you know what I mean.
But like if I set up a Smash tournament, the stages would be okay. Fine, you want to get rid of the items because that's not fair. Fine, the stages are picked randomly when you're about to play, and you're going to pick a different character every fucking round.
Yeah, that's one format of the way that the game is played now.
Yeah, because most of the ones I come across are the same fucking unwashed spurgs playing the same 3 characters on the same stage over and over again. And I look at that and I'm like, I don't even know how this is fun to watch.
You've clearly not been paying attention, because let me tell you something. Now that Ultimate has come out and we have so many awesome options and all the characters are back, it's the Wild West right now, and we're seeing all kinds of fun new formats and different ways to play. The winner, or not winner, but the 2 finalists in the Montreal Open that they had the week the game came out were playing Ganondorf and Snake. And they played on Battlefield and Animal Crossing Village. So I mean, your point is demonstrably false. And also, but we've gotten into this whole argument over the intent of Smash, and the intent is for you to play it however you want, which is why they put in so many options this time, and I love it for that. They finally put in like a full keybind, like on a controller in a console game. You can bind the buttons to whatever action you want, and it's wonderful. But the actual point that I wanted to bring up, and why I even mentioned this, is that meme is actually on my side. Because the nerd kid in Polar Express is supposed to be like that meme is the kid says something he thinks is smart but is wrong.
I'm putting it half out in tongue in cheek.
Okay.
I'm not like super angry about it. It's just, you know.
I'm not angry. I'm just confused as to why.
I'm not sitting here like, oh, this is. But it just gets to be draining because esports in general I don't like. Because most of the time, to make it super competitive, it looks to me like they take all the fucking fun out of things. You know, they want to get rid of anything chaotic, anything that they can't fucking instantly adapt to. And it just seems like, you know, for a lot of games, I don't care. But for something like Smash, that seems like it's designed purely for fucking fun. It seems like it's designed to be lighthearted. To see a bunch of spurgs like really, really spurging out about it. And part of the reason I shared it is because I'm in a bunch of Facebook Smash groups right now. So I'm just seeing it constantly. I'm seeing the worst elements of it. And it was irritating the fuck out of me. So that's why I shared the meme. But I'm sorry, man. There's just an element of the tournament scene that I just find really distasteful.
Sure. And those are the people who think that they're great and don't get it. Mostly,
yeah. When's
I'm not mad playable character or anything like that. Again, it's just, you know, when I've got some autist lecturing me about how he's the best at a game because he shuts off half of it, it just gets frustrating after a while to fucking see that.
Well, no, I can see where Bechtloff's going, because you'll admit this, Undertow. When it comes to general, for example, the fucking competitive scene. You won't see almost again. That's the thing. I don't want to fucking meme smash into this sort of weird idea that it's all about Final Destination, Fox only, no fucking items. It's not generally the case, but I don't think, and this is not to shit on Smash. This is just I don't think it's designed, or at least it should be, a fucking esports game. You could do whatever the fuck you want. It's a fucking video game. Yeah. I'm not going to fucking tell you when you have $60. It wasn't designed
that way originally. You're actually correct. It was not meant to be that originally. It's a fun game. When people were able to find all that crazy weird tech in Melee, the first thing that they did, you'll remember, is in the sequel Brawl, when they had more time to work on it, they added more randomization and took all the elements out of it. Took all of those elements out of it. But for Smash 4 and now for Ultimate, they've actually gone back to the drawing board and allowed it to be played both ways.
Oh yeah,
and they actually have tweaked it as if it were an esport. And I mean, there's frame perfect stuff now that's really cool, and designed in such a way that you can get around certain things in a fun and interesting way.
Well, I would say not just an esport. I think consistency in video games works perfectly well. I mean, as a massive drunkard, I've been playing Black Ops 4 and then bouncing back to Counter-Strike Global Offensive. CSGO has not changed massively in ages. And mind you, I don't know if you guys know, Counter-Strike is now free to play. And you've also got a fucking PUBG mode. You can play, it's got its own fucking PUBG mode on it.
Interesting.
So that's how Counter-Strike has massively changed.
Yeah.
But essentially, it's still the same fucking game. But with something like, obviously, the Smash games, you've got these. That's the thing. I don't think my general point is kind of. I feel like I'm like on a massive fucking like. If you're going towards like Arkansas, I'm going towards fucking Maryland. I don't think I've got a point that goes against your point, but
we don't. That's the thing is.
You got to admit that the elements that I'm talking about exist, whether it's the majority or not.
I never denied that.
And it's what I'm seeing a lot. And you also have to understand, and I hate to get on the therapy couch, but I've had to deal with a whole lot of ultra serious fart huffers here in the last few months that sort of have me a bit on edge about that sort of shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you know,
Stay neutral, Undertow.
like I said,
You've got your innocence. Don't stay innocent.
I'm sitting here, in these Facebook groups watching this over and over again. And yeah, I threw a meme out there to vent my frustration at the Fox only no items assholes.
The Fox only no items assholes have never existed. That's always been a meme from people who don't like it, like from day one.
Like I said, you have to admit that fucking element of it is out there.
Well, I mean, the no items element, yeah. But again, like that's just circles back to my thing again, which is that that's really just a stereotype, and it's people who don't.
Stereotypes don't come out of nowhere.
Oh, absolutely not. Yeah, the reason they say Fox only is not because we think that Fox is the best test of skill. They thought, hey, look, Fox is the fastest, and we can get all these exploits in to make him hit the hardest and hit the fastest, so we'll just use him all the time. And actually, as the meta has developed and people have discovered new tricks or gotten better, things like Jigglypuff show up all the time. Things like Yoshi now show up all the time. Even Bowser. And I'm talking about just in the old Melee game, not even in the new ones. And the newer ones have had a much better balancing done on them and everything. And I've never played in a Smash tournament, right? But I just enjoy the thrill of fighting games. But the thing with Smash is it uses a different system from, I mean, pretty much every other fighting game. Pretty much every other fighting game out there uses a standard health bar stamina system, right? What a lot of people miss about Smash is that the core mechanic is actually kind of based on sumo wrestling. Because no matter what happens, you're not out until you go out of the ring. It's just on a side scroller instead of on a mat, which is a unique fighting game setup that you can't get anywhere else. So even if you think that Smash is, quote, a party game, we have engineered sort of a system to play it like a fighting game then. Yeah. As in people who don't like randomized stuff in it. In fact, they included a great option with the newest one where you can play on any of the stages with the stage hazards disabled. So you can get the unique level layouts without having to worry about, oh, look, suddenly the dice were rolled and I guess there's a lava pit where I was planning on landing in half a second. That's my big issue, is that you can't adapt to something that is completely out of your hands and happens within a split second. It's like if you were playing Counter-Strike, for example, and every now and then one of the walls just disappeared. And it was completely random which one it would be. And oh, look, somebody happens to be looking at you and I guess you get shot. That's what it would be like if the same system was in Counter-Strike.
Well, depending on how much you've drunk, and that's probably the case with me. I was actually going to try and kind of move this away from Smash. I was actually going to move this to, cause we were loosely talking about GameCube libraries.
Yeah.
I still stand by the fact I think the best Capcom game is Resident Evil 4. And I would loosely maybe agree with you if you said maybe the best the best Capcom game. Second to that, maybe Super Ghouls and Ghosts on the SNES. I would fight any of you.
You saying you don't love the Mega Man version on the DOS?
I've never played Mega Man.
You've never played Mega Man, period?
I've never played Mega Man, period. I've only played Resident Evil and Super Ghouls and Ghosts.
I've never played much from Capcom, honestly, except for Monster Hunter. And that's not really indicative of anything other than Monster Hunter.
Really got into Golden Ghost stuff. I mean, I understand they're meant to be that way, but they're just very frustrating ball busters that I've never.
Yeah.
I did, however, really like the Gargoyles Quest spin-off series. That's fantastic.
Yeah. Well, in all fairness, Ghouls and Ghosts is basically Mega Man, but for people who want to kill themselves. It's here's a Mega Man game, but you've got no health bar.
I think playing the NES version on the NES Classic is the first one of those I actually played. And I don't be far in it.
I've only played the SNES version and the, I had to say this, Genesis / Mega Drive. Yeah, that's the only version I've played.
Genesis version is basically...
It's basically the Commodore 64 version.
True to the arcade, from what I understand. Like in graphics and all.
Yeah, there's like fucking 12 different versions of the same fucking game. It's like you've got the NES version, then you've got the Super Ghouls and Ghosts, and then you've got again, the Genesis / Mega Drive version is essentially kind of like the original NES version, but then it's kind of, I don't fucking know. All
Yeah.
you've got to know is halfway through the game, you've got to play the fucking game again.
Yeah, you beat the game, you got to play it again to get the ending.
So, hey, real quick, I actually saw a comment just now. I just remembered that I could check out the chat window while we were talking. So somebody in the comments, oh, whoops, I made it disappear. Whoops. His name was Liam, I believe. He said something in the comments about, oh, shoot, now I'm looping back on myself. Ugh. Okay, now I can hear. He said that Pokemon is a tactics game, and now they want to remove the random percentages from it because, quote, it's unfair, just like we were talking about with Smash stuff. And that is, I would say that's a different scenario because that is a turn-based game for one thing. And so, and it also is a tactics game. So the skill that is being tested is not inputs and prediction like it is in a fighting game, so to speak. It's did you make the wisest choice and did you weigh your options correctly?
Yeah.
So I actually understand randomization as part of a tactical sort of game because obviously I play tabletop games and that's basically the only way you can make that work. Otherwise, it's just chess and it's a binary system of are you on this square or not?
Yeah.
Well, again, like I said, part of what I think the skill in Smash Brothers is adapting to the chaos.
Okay, but Bechtloff, my point is that you can't adapt to a Bob-omb that appeared after your punch had already been thrown.
Like that's okay, that'll happen occasionally, but most of the time it's like this item appears on the stage, and maybe one of you is closer to it, but most of the time, odds are both of you at least have a shot at getting it.
Well, can I just say, because I think most of it was down to the shit. Or again, is it the Pokemon Go Eevee and the Pokemon Go Pikachu, the recent video games? Is this meant to be like a jab to that?
Let's Go Eevee and Let's Go Pikachu. Yeah.
Yeah, this is a jab to that. And fair enough, most people have said this is almost like an intermediate between the Pokemon Go games and obviously the actual fucking Pokemon games. Because Pokemon Go is not a Pokemon game. It's
they're not supposed to be the main games from what I understand.
It's basically just fucking geocaching. It's
sort of like, did you play Go? Well, here's baby's first Pokemon for you.
Yeah, it's completely different. No, I mean, again, I think Chris, you made this point before. It's well, mind you, Pokemon is basic bitch fucking RPG. It's not fucking bad, but if you want to, if it's your fucking drug, this is marijuana. Skyrim is going to be your close to heroin. Deus Ex might be your fucking, Christopher Cantwell is going to be with you as you do that fucking line of fucking crystal meth. That's the right one. But kids, funnily enough, don't do drugs. Do Deus Ex, Mankind Divided. That's a much better drug. Best drug you could ever do.
Bechtloff, do you have a Switch? Obviously, have you gotten the Smash Ultimate yet?
No, like I said, I'm kind of I'm kind of hoping I get it for Christmas.
Yeah, why don't? What if you do get it? Can you stream from your Switch?
Can someone stream from your Switch?
Are you expecting a boomer to fucking stream?
Yeah, I don't know. I'd like to stream from my Switch
because it might be fun to play a couple rounds of Smash on stream and see if in practice it feels more fun with items.
Well, I've always enjoyed it with items.
Is this another thing?
That's because I don't. I play it as a fun game when my friends are over. I don't give much of a shit if I win or lose.
Undertow, is this a Boxing Day challenge? Are you saying you're gonna wipe the floor with?
I'm not saying that
on Boxing Day.
I'm not saying that the only reason that he prefers.
You're just presenting
because he uses them.
You're just presenting.
I'm just implying it.
Yeah, you're just presenting it. You're doing it as a macaroni fucking image, just in front of everyone.
Macaroni
on my Switch. I'd probably stream a whole lot of me fucking around in Breath of the Wild.
Jokes aside, that actually would be a nice thing to see because it'd be laid back kind of thing to do.
Especially now that I have Majora's Mask and I can just wander into fucking enemy camps. And they don't attack me until I attack them.
Do you know what? We didn't actually talk about the Sam Raimi Spider-Man this evening. I'm quite disappointed.
Oh yeah, the Sam Raimi Spider-Man racist jokes.
Yeah, I think Undertow knows about them. I mean,
Betrayed my trust.
well, Chris, what did you think of the Zyklon?
Spider-Man.
Well, Chris, did you think the Zyklon?
The Zyklon B part that got cut out of the script when Raimi just started, shitting in his hands and throwing it at people on set was just that story. It just makes us go.
I mentioned this before we went live, but like I just on Facebook the other day I saw evidence of like how far that meme spread from the Chans. Like somebody had shared like this fan art with like the 3 different movie versions of Spider-Man all together, and then somebody under it they had shared it and said like this would be a great thing in the Spider-Verse crossover or whatever, and then somebody under it immediately says, yeah, but the only problem is the Sam Raimi Spider-Man would try and lynch Miles Morales. And I instantly caught that. I was like, I'm amazed at how far that meme is spread now.
What the?
That reminds me, actually. So this is only tangentially related, but it's the same kind of like. It's the kind of thing that people would just believe because that's a good thing that's shocking, and I could like, did you know? So somebody posted this on Twitter. So you're unaware of the fact that Nazi Germany had a wall called the Berlin Wall that was torn down in 1991 in order to foster humanity and diversity. Walls didn't work for Nazis, so why build them here? Build bridges, not walls, Nazi love.
I saw that. Fucking hell.
And that just makes me so happy.
I saw the light fucking bending around her fucking head. She is that fucking dense.
I don't even need to make arguments anymore. I can just let them speak and then gesture and say, ladies and gentlemen, the aristocrats.
Well, I mean, there's the old joke that, everyone falls for the first Babylon Bee article they see. Like,
Babylon Bee.
Yeah, everyone
falls.
Do they
use that to delouse clothing? What is that?
Well, in all fairness, I'm still waiting to ask Pastor Tom what did he think of the Zyklon B dispenser in the Spider-Man second film. I mean, I just thought it was over the top. It's like
it was a bit on the nose,
Yeah. Well, when Doc Ock said the power of Auschwitz in the palm of my hands, I just thought it's a bit fucking crazy.
Somebody, and I haven't seen it in years, but somebody took the power of the sun in the palm of my hands and they edited it to be a Sunny D commercial.
The only thing that could be better is if they did Capri Sun and then like edited it so that he was all like silvery. Might not be that hard because he's already got all this cyborg stuff going on,
Well, someone had the train scene from Spider-Man 2 and it says, shit, this train's not going to be able to stop at Auschwitz at the right time.
Oh, man.
Well, that's the thing. It's like the Ben Garrison comics. You've essentially made Sam Raimi a fucking New York Jew into the Aryan Nation leader. It's like, where is it not funny? It's like, I don't know if you guys have seen it, but Scott Adams has been going nuts because someone actually shopped him doing a Dilbert costume, but they made his entire outfit into a Waffen SS with with the armband, and he's been going at
that reminds me. It reminds me of the time that somebody came onto Poll and they were talking about this, and they were the original person who made the Ben Garrison jokes.
Oh,
and
they
talked about it. He's like, yeah, I did like the first dozen or so edits of his comics to do that. And they're like, oh, really? That's interesting. He's like, yeah, I'm not really sure what possessed me to do it because I mean, I am Jewish.
Yeah.
And then everyone in Poll was like, you see, they do it to themselves to claim victimhood. It was a pretty good laugh.
So the funniest thing I ever saw somebody who was Jewish share was they shared like the gondola memes where like one of them is a Nazi and the other's a Jew getting pushed in the oven, and the Jew that's in the oven is going like, "Do you need more ovens? I got low prices."
Yeah.
Jewish guy who shared it, and he was like, "My great uncle was a salesman to the end."
Yeah. Well, I've got a joke. What's the difference between a black Jew and a white Jew?
How high the temperature was cranked?
No, the black Jews are made to sit at the back. It's
Well, the classic one was how was copper wire invented? Two rabbis were fighting over a penny.
well,
all right. Well, now that we're gonna get thrown off YouTube, I'm actually headed to bed. It's about
All right,
1 in the morning my time. So
well, let me say this because Heroic Fool posted the best Raimi post ever, and everyone seemed to miss that. And just think of this: you're watching the first Spider-Man film, and Uncle Ben's giving the big scene about responsibility. He says, "Peter, make sure you wear gloves when working with poisonous animals, especially spiders and women. They like to they like to stab you with their fangs and suck out all life and happiness right out of you. That's all a woman is: a hideous, poison-filled parasite." Now I know what you're thinking, but Uncle Ben, you married to a woman. Shut the fuck up, Peter. Don't talk about Mary like that. You know the way you're fucking thinking right now. Why do you think we even don't have any kids? Trust me, Peter. Beneath her dress is a cock and pair of balls the size of a month-old zucchini and a pair of avocados.
Shit.
and with that, I bid you all a Merry Christmas.
All right, man. Good.
And
talking.
to all a good night.
Oh, Lordy.
Her arsehole is like a used rubber band. when she was young, goddamn, she was tight as an infant.
God, that's ridiculous.
Anyways, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, spiders. Wear gloves. I saw on the news a farmer got bit by a wolf and turned into a werewolf. His brother got his finger slammed in the front door of his house and turned into a warehouse. Has to have forklifts drive into the receiving dock every day. Anyway, I'll tell you about that Alzheimer's later. It's fucking...
I love what a meme that's become.
Yeah, we've turned your childhood comics into a fucking Aryan fucking.
Well, it's better than what Marvel's turned the comics into.
Well, Uncle Ben just looking at black people the way that fucking most feminists look at comics. It's like just pure fucking hatred.
Oh, man.
Actually, I was going to say, are you still going into the... Because, I mean, my old man's actually... He's collecting all of them, but he's not reading them any. What's the Dr. Manhattan comic? Is it Doomsday Clock?
Doomsday Clock, yeah.
Is that still any good?
I am. I'm like an issue behind on it. Like I bought it, but I didn't read it. But yeah, so far it's been really, really good. I've enjoyed it a lot. It's there's not a lot of really good comics out there, but there are a few. To be honest, like the thing about a lot of Marvel comics is like there's some good ones out there. It's just you gotta watch, man. You gotta. I don't know how else to put it. Like it's probably only like 30 or 40% of what Marvel's publishing is absolute shit. The rest is pretty damn good. You know, but the problem is it becomes like fucking Russian roulette almost. You never know when you pick up a comic what you're getting. Yeah. Like, is this just going to be good old fashioned superhero shit, or is this going to be some obnoxious garbage?
Yeah, do you want my film about 13 lesbians and they all kind of les off? They're half of them are kind of disabled. It's I mean, mind you, look at the have you seen some of the reviews for Aquaman? Because I mean, my dad watched it. And it was the one film I was gonna watch it, but I had the fucking flu at the time.
I've heard really good things about it, and the commercial had me cautiously optimistic. So I'm probably gonna check it out when it's on DVD.
Yeah, everyone said
really looking forward to Shazam.
Yeah,
I might actually go to the theater for that one.
Well, it's so the old man said, it's a solid fucking film. Again, see, that's the problem. Aquaman and Wonder Woman, again, they're not exactly the A game when it comes to DC. It's fucking Batman, Superman. But when you look at what they've produced, again, well, technically Batman's not produced anything. It's all essentially just been fucking Man. Well, I'd even say this. Aside from maybe editing, I'd say Man of Steel is probably the best Superman film produced. I think it is. There is no problems as a standalone film that it has, aside from basically just shaky cam J.J. Abrams
I
fucking.
think there's a lot of problems to that plot, but I will say that like Superman movies aren't very good.
Mm.
I mean, like the Christopher Reeve movies, I can understand why people thought they were good at the time. They haven't aged well. And there's a bunch of like random shit in those movies that doesn't make any sense even in universe.
Yeah.
And
I'll say this with
like,
Christopher Reeve.
1 and 2 are good. They're not great, but they're good. I think Superman Returns is honestly underrated. Again, it's not great, but I enjoyed it when I watched it. I had no problem with it.
Yeah.
Man of Steel, I enjoyed when I watched it. The biggest problem with Man of Steel, and this is something Hollywood needs to get to its fucking head. Origin stories aren't that fucking good. Okay. There's a reason why back in the day, origin stories would take a single issue at most. And if not, it would be like the first page. Because yeah, here's what this person's deal is. Now can we watch them have cool adventures? Like, you know, if you're doing like a Superman movie, we spend like fucking 40 minutes on Krypton and Man of Steel. That should have been like 40 seconds at the beginning. Okay. Like, yeah, he was Krypton was a place. Superman comes from that place. And you know, that place is gone now. You know, I would love a Spider-Man movie that just opens with like, yeah, got bit, uncle died, fight crime. Are we all on board now? Come on.
Do you know what? I agree with that sentiment. I'll argue this though. I thought Russell Crowe's character was pretty good.
It was, but it's like
it could have been done better.
The whole time I feel like I'm watching a Star Wars prequel. I'm like, can we get to the Superman shit?
Yeah,
I want to watch Superman do super. Like Razor Fist said it best. He goes, "You want to make a Superman movie? Remember that scene in Superman Returns when he's stopping the plane from crashing? Just do 90 minutes of shit like that." Okay, just heaven forbid you give us 90 minutes of Superman doing Superman stuff.
Yeah. If you wanted to do the perfect trilogy, you do the first film is basically him saving the airplane. The second film, you give him something formidable. And then the third film, maybe you do something like Doomsday style. That's all you need to do. For the 3 perfect Superman films,
I've said this
that's all you need to do.
If I would have been in charge of the DC movies, this is how I would have done it. DC Cinematic Universe. I would have done in the course of 2 years tops a Green Lantern, a Flash, and a Wonder Woman film. I know Green Lantern was well received at first. People forget that. Like everybody liked it at first. It made a lot of money at first, and then all of a sudden, everybody decided they hated it. But you know what? Like, stop letting one misstep make you abandon things. They could have built off that. They could have built well off that. But either way, let's say you reboot from that. You do a Green Lantern movie, a Flash movie, and a Wonder Woman movie, all in the course of 2 years tops, and you have them interconnected, and you hint, are you just flat out say throughout these movies that Superman and Batman already exist in this world. You don't need to show them. If anything, you're building tension for how exactly you're going to portray them. But like at the end of the last of the 3 you do, Superman and Batman assemble the Justice League or something like that. That's how you do it. All right. You don't need, I don't know. The Superman Batman movie is just such
a Suicide Squad. I don't see what people shit on it. The film was fucking perfectly fine. I'm not saying it's a great film, but it does. It kind of does what you fucking mentioned, because it has only one scene with Batman. It doesn't mention anyone else. It just has obviously the main characters. Fucking is it Slade / was it Deadshot and fucking Harley Quinn, fucking Killer Croc, all that shit. But it only has, again, I think it does exactly right what it should have done. I'd also argue it does fucking Amanda Waller justice. It's probably got the best DC villain anyway.
I never saw Suicide. Like I saw Man of Steel and I was like, this is all right. And I saw Superman Batman. I'm like, this is a fucking mess. I ended up seeing Wonder Woman because it looked really, really good, and she was one of the best parts of Superman Batman. But I never saw Suicide Squad. I never saw Justice League. I should have been so excited for a Justice League movie. A trailer for a Justice League movie should have left me with a 10-foot long erection with a bald eagle perched on a tip.
Well,
I see this trailer and I'm like, here's Batman and not Flash and fucking Cyborg wandering around a parking garage. Yeah, this looks riveting.
Yeah.
And I never saw it, and I may never see it. And there's something to me that, like, when I think about that, is kind of heartbreaking.
Yeah,
there's something to me that's kind of heartbreaking about the fact that a Justice League movie exists, and I can't be bothered to sit down and watch it because I don't care.
Well, who's going to give a shit? I think, if I remember correctly, Ben Affleck's left the project. Henry Cavill is most likely thinking, why the fuck did I join? It's like, here's the thing. Do you remember? I don't know. A lot of people forgot this with Justice League, or I don't know if it was Batman v Superman, because those fucking shit films blend together. But Henry Cavill was actually filming the latest Mission Impossible film, which, mind you, and I'll say this to your audience, go see like, I don't fucking like Tom Cruise in his films, but he's not a fucking bad, like, when it comes to making good films, he fucking makes good films. The latest Mission Impossible film, go fucking watch that. It's probably the best film of 2018, aside from maybe Halloween or maybe First Man. But what happened, which a lot of people don't forget, is Justice League had to CGI his fucking mustache, because he had a mustache in fucking Mission Impossible, so they had to spend like millions of fucking dollars. Like DC, Warner Brothers had to spend fucking insane amounts, like entire film budgets, trying to CG out his fucking mustache, because again, Justice League was just a fucking mess. It's like you had
fucking mess.
Like,
it was just.
I'll give benefit of the doubt. I think Zack Snyder, he gave Man of Steel, which is not a bad film. I think I'll give it almost like the George Lucas thing. You basically give a good editor, you could probably make a fantastic film out of it.
Here's the thing, like, you could look at the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and there's plenty of criticisms you can launch at it. Yeah, Thor 2 is forgettable. Iron Man 2 is rough. You know, the Incredible Hulk movie, while I think it's a good movie, it doesn't quite fit, and they ended up getting rid of that actor anyways. And then, you know, like the Ant-Man movie, while I think the first one, I didn't see the second one yet.
Yeah.
The first one, while it turned out pretty good, it was obviously stuck in a lot of development hell. It was originally supposed to come out before Avengers.
Yeah.
You know, there was a lot of missteps. But at the same time, step back and realize this is a 20-plus movie series that so far has not had a truly bad one.
Yeah.
It's had some ones that, okay, they're not that good. But, you know, can you really look me in the eye and tell me Iron Man 2 sucks? No. Iron Man 2 doesn't suck. It's not as good as the rest of the movies in that series. But it's a perfectly watchable flick. Okay? It's not Ghostbusters 2016. All right? It's not even Batman v Superman, where it's a fucking mess. It's just kind of a movie that doesn't really need to exist. But I will say, in its credit, it has the best portrayal of Black Widow as a character in the entire fucking movie series.
Oh yeah,
she's actually a spy and actually doing spy stuff. And then that actress was in the best shape of her life in that movie. And okay, yeah, but 20-plus movies, and none of them are truly terrible. You can't say that about any movie series. You can't say it about James Bond and its 20-plus movies. Half of them are dog shit, okay? A good portion of them weren't even good at the time. I almost walked out of the fucking last Pierce Brosnan one that had Halle Berry in it. I almost walked out on that. That's how fucking bad that movie was.
What what was that?
Die Another Day, I think.
Yeah, Die Another Day. Fuck it.
They were gonna give her fucking character from that movie her own spin-off movie for a while.
No,
I'm like, oh, that's good. Take the worst part of this fucking movie and make it a movie. That's I like to call that the Daredevil turns into Electra.
Yeah. Yeah, here's the Money Penny series with the mulatto actress.
Oh, jeez. But yeah, you can't say that about any other movie series. You have to give the Marvel movies credit. The worst ones are forgettable. That's the worst ones. Like, okay, Thor 2 is I would argue in some ways it's the worst one of the bunch. And you know what? I didn't dislike it when I saw it. I just don't really remember much about it other than Jane Foster's assistants throwing junk into the dimensional portal.
Oh, yeah. The big-titted Jewess throwing shit into the portals was the best bit about that film.
And I liked it like later on because she's like throwing shoes in there. Like they're running through all these portals and they're in a cave, and Thor just goes like, "There are a lot of shoes in here."
Yeah. Well, here's the thing.
It's funny.
The actor who played the bad guy, the fucking Dark Elf, Christopher Eccleston, because I'm English, I gotta love Doctor Who. He was the guy who played the first main Doctor Who actor. He even said, literally in a fucking interview, I only did this role for a paycheck so I could do other shit. It's like, that film had the worst fucking start to it, but it still was alright.
Yeah, it was still okay.
Yeah. I don't think it was
You know
bad.
what it felt like to me? It felt like just
I
kind
think-
of a
I think the
forgettable
first-
episode of a TV show.
I think
Like,
the
not a
first
bad
Thor was
episode,
probably
just
worse.
no one remembers.
I think the first Thor was more fucking forgettable than the second one. I don't see why people shit on the second one. I feel that was alright.
I like the first Thor a lot, but at the same time, what's really funny about the first Thor is how much it borrows from the old Incredible Hulk movie with the Thor in it. Like the TV Incredible Hulk had a bunch of TV movies after the show wrapped up, and like one of them was called Trial of the Incredible Hulk. It was like guest starring Daredevil, and it was supposed to spin off into a Daredevil show that never happened. And then one of them was Return of the Incredible Hulk, and that was guest starring Thor, and that was supposed to spin off into a Thor show that never happened. Well, anyways, that Return of the Incredible Hulk movie with Thor in it, large portions of the 2011 Thor movie are taken right out of that. Like large portions of dialogue and shit like that. Like it borrows really heavily from that, like shockingly heavily. I'm amazed how much they borrowed from that.
No, I don't. Again,
You mentioned GoldenEye because I was talking about Pierce Brosnan. I love GoldenEye. GoldenEye is one of my favorite of the Bond movies. The rest of Pierce Brosnan's movies, however, are pretty fucking rough. And it's so weird. And a lot of the Bond actors are like this. They start off incredibly strong and then peter out to nothing. But yeah, Pierce Brosnan is like the quintessential example of that. GoldenEye is one of the finest Bond films. I would say it's the top 5 of that entire franchise. The rest of the movies are rough. Holy shit. Like that one with Denise Richards. Oh, that one sucked balls. And then
the best Bond.
One with Terry Hatcher, that one was a shame because that had a really interesting premise where the guy was just starting wars because it was like helping his media empire grow. He didn't have any plans of world domination. He was just making his media empire bigger. That one had some interesting ideas. Man, was it rough.
Yeah. Again, Pierce Brosnan's he's a mixed case because obviously Timothy Dalton was actually originally going to be doing. See, that's the thing. Pierce Brosnan was never meant to do the original idea for. There's actually posters you can find. I'll have to double check.
He was supposed to be Bond back in like the early 80s.
Yeah, Timothy Dalton was meant to be the original guy in GoldenEye. Pierce Brosnan, here's the thing. He's got the looks for a Bond, but again, Bond's a weird case. Bond, the original Ian Fleming character, is basically a fucking massive. He's an SAS member who's a massive fucking alcoholic wife beater. He's not functioning. He's not normal, but he does his job to a fucking autismal fucking degree perfectly. It's like he's the fucking perfect agent.
And Daniel Craig really nailed that cold aspect to Bond.
Yeah, he gets that right. The best Bond is Timothy Dalton, aside from Sean Connery, because Sean Connery sets the kind of gold standard because he's like a perfect, just a film character. It's like you can't not like Sean Connery's fucking.
I really like Roger Moore's Bond, but I hate all of Roger Moore's movies.
Yeah,
like
my dad.
The actual Bond movies he's in are shit. Like some of the worst ones. What the fuck is the one he did with like the voodoo guys or something?
Oh, Baron Hamilton, yeah.
Like, that's probably the worst one. To me, that and Die Another Day, the last Brosnan one, are about tied for the worst. But at the same time, I really like him as Bond. And I just like every time I watched one of his movies, I'm like, damn it, why couldn't they have given you better scripts, man?
Well, again, it's a simple case of it's Roger Moore. I mean, funny, I think my dad actually got Sir Roger Moore's autograph like almost 2 months just before he died, funnily enough, because I think Roger Moore died, must have been last year. I mean, fucking Sean Connery's still fucking chugging along. I mean, that guy doesn't fucking die for anything. But no, I mean, most of these actors, again, it's almost like dry boomer shit. The films aren't bad. It's almost like westerns. It's like if you get a good fucking western, it's fucking good. But for the most part, most westerns are just shit. It's like just fucking ignore them. If Clint Eastwood isn't in them, just don't fucking watch it. If it's John Wayne, unless it's a really fucking good John Wayne film, you can watch it. But for the most part, it's all shit.
I see. I'm kind of the opposite. I prefer the Clint Eastwood ones over
No,
the
I
John
agree.
Wayne one, just because I hate John Wayne as an actor.
No, John Wayne as an actor is fucking fantastic.
Oh, I hate him as an actor, dude. I got to fight you.
Well, not an actor. Well, I mean,
'Cause-
as a person, actually, sorry.
I don't know what he is as a person.
As a person, he beat up like fucking, was it Frank Sinatra's fucking bodyguard in real life? Because I think
maybe he was awesome as a person. I think he was a shit actor. Like I think John Wayne was a shit actor because he talked like he fucking had a stroke.
yeah,
And you know why he did that? This is a funny story. John Wayne, the reason because I'm sorry, let's step back for a moment. The way John Wayne talked in all of his movies was like a blithering retard. Okay, the cadence he had, like he talked. Human beings don't speak that way, and the reason he did that is because when John Wayne was a young man working early in Hollywood and shit, he actually got to meet one of the last living cowboys. I'm not sure which one, but a famous one, right? And that's how that guy talked, because that guy was like 104 years old and had like 14 fucking strokes and 1 foot in the grave. So John Wayne, for the rest of his life, thought that's how cowboys talk.
No.
No. That's how an old man with 1 foot in the grave talks.
Yeah.
So John Wayne spent his entire career talking like a retard. And for some reason, no one ever called him on it.
Yeah.
And everybody thought it was endearing. I find it grating as hell. The only John Wayne movie I fucking like is The Shootist. And the reason I can look past John Wayne's shit acting in it is because he's playing a washed up, dried up old fucking man. So it makes sense for him to talk like some old fuck who's had 87 strokes.
Well, I love
Clint Eastwood as an actor, though. I've always loved Clint Eastwood as an actor. I consider westerns with Clint Eastwood, even though I don't like westerns that much, because I love Clint Eastwood. John Wayne, though, get the fuck out of here, man. And it's good that he's mostly in movies that I don't give much of a shit about. Like, I'm not huge on westerns. I'm not even huge on like war movies. It's just, I don't know, man. I don't feel like making. I don't feel. I want to be entertained at the movies. I don't want to be reminded of actual tragic fucking things like war. Like I want far off fantastical wars where motherfuckers are shooting laser guns at each other, so it's far removed from reality. You know what I mean?
Well, I got shot.
And I don't dislike all war movies. I'm just not that inclined to like them. Like there are a few that are among my favorite movies ever. Like Mel Gibson's "We Were Soldiers" is one of my favorite movies ever.
Yeah, it's a solid film.
There's people who like a genre so much that they're gonna like it even when it's not that great. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then people like I get it if you don't like superhero movies and the only superhero movies you like are like Watchmen and The Dark Knight or something. I get that. You know what I mean? I love superhero movies, so I'm gonna love even the ones that aren't that good. And a lot of people are like that with westerns or war movies.
Well, you're just describing Zack Snyder's fucking favorite film, so it's like just every film. But no, I was gonna say, John Wayne as a person wasn't that bad.
He might have been awesome as a person. As an actor, I think he's shit.
Well,
I think he's always shit.
It's boomer core, and I'm gonna say this because we'll see if Mr. Glan wants to come into chat. Not the Terror House Mag Glan. This is another Glan. I got shat on John Steele's stream, funnily enough, for shitting on John Wayne, saying, yeah, his films aren't that good. Come on, just guys admit it. The Clint Eastwood, Sergio Leone fucking Western films are a lot fucking better. It's like if you're gonna watch a Western film, it's gonna be like The Good, the Bad, the Ugly. It's gonna be the fucking Fistful of Dollars films. It's not gonna be that John Wayne shit. If you're gonna watch a Western, it's gonna be Clint Eastwood.
The two westerns I really, really like. I like Unforgiven because, of course, it's fucking Unforgiven. You know what I mean? Like I said, whether you like westerns or not, you'll like that movie because it's just amazing. And there's another one I really, really like, and no one ever talks about it. There was a movie Mel Gibson did called Maverick in like the 90s. And it was just this kind of, It was almost like like an action comedy, like a lot of Mel Gibson's movies were.
Mm.
And I just like it because I like Mel Gibson. Mel Gibson's just cool as fuck,
It's
especially in
good.
the '90s. He had such a not giving a fuck attitude that I love that movie. I love that movie to death. And then I guess other than that, I like some of the westerns that have like weird steampunk bits of sci-fi in it.
Oh God, you're
Like
not going to mention
like I
them.
used to love Briscoe County Jr. when it was on. I used to love the Wild Wild West show when it was on. Not when it was on, when I watched reruns as a kid, but I love Briscoe County Jr. Hell, I even like the fucking Jonah Hex movie. That's one of my favorite DC movies, believe it or not. Because again, I like the idea of going back to a past time and having like weird sci-fi steampunkish shit in it, but it's like it's stuff that isn't sci-fi to us. You know what I mean? It's just stuff they wouldn't have had.
Yeah.
Like, there's a line in one of the Briscoe County Jr. things where the one guy invents denim. And the other guy's like, this is stupid. Nobody's gonna want this. And he like throws it away.
Again, it's westerns. It's again, even with some of the boomer tier stuff with fucking Bond films, it's a lot. Most of them aren't. See, that's the problem. It's like when you get like a really fucking, even if you get a good Bond film or a good western, they're kind of not watchable unless you were there, or at least you've not watched any of the good shit that's been produced recently. It's like, I don't think Daniel Craig's films are that great. I think they're fucking great, but they're not fucking perfect.
Where like he starts off really strong, and it just sort of peters out. Like Casino Royale is really good.
Yeah.
But then it just sort of, it's like the rest of them like blur together, and it's like, who cares?
Yeah.
Like I remember going to the last Daniel Craig Bond movie because like my dad was a big Bond fan because obviously boomer.
Yeah.
And the first one he took me to as a kid, I remember, was GoldenEye, and I really liked that. And it's one of those movies. I was like maybe like 13 at the time when it came out, but it's one of those movies I'd watch again and again as I grow older and I'd get more of it. You know what I mean? And then obviously the next Bond movies would come out after that, and I'm like, this is terrible. And
they're not fucking great
And
films.
then, like, you know, because after Pierce Brosnan ran it into the dirt with Die Another Day, everyone's like, oh, this franchise is dead. And then, you know, the Daniel Craig movie comes out, and everybody's like, okay, it's back. And then the next one comes out, it's like, okay, maybe it's dead again.
Yeah, everyone fucking shouting. Quantum of Solace is not a bad film.
It's not. It's just none of the. I don't think any of Daniel Craig's films are bad. It's just it starts off really, really strong and memorable, and then it just sort of peters out into nothing.
The one with that gay South African dude, the blonde dude, the one that looks. Is it the guy from fucking?
I thought that guy was gonna rape him in that movie. I thought, and you know what? In hindsight, I wish he had.
Yeah,
I know that sounds weird to say, but I wish it's like.
I'll say this: the third one was actually good.
Like, go ahead and cross the line. Go ahead and cross that line. Now I know Hollywood will never show the gay guy being, that evil and all, but just show him being make the villain an absolute disgusting shitbag like that. Like make it so we can't wait to see this cocksucker die by the end of the movie.
Yeah.
Like, you ever see that movie Mel Gibson did, The Patriot or whatever?
Mm.
There's that one British dude who is just like such an absolute shitbag. And by the end of this movie, you're like, I cannot wait to see Mel Gibson shoot this cocksucker.
Yeah, but that's the thing. The newest film, like, you got all these people with the James Bond film. It's like, oh yeah, it's gonna be a transgender Bond, or it's like, is it Danny Boyle? Here's the thing: the guy did fucking 28 Days Later, and is it Slumdog Millionaire, and he thinks he's on top of the world. Like, yeah, 28 Days Later is a fucking. It's not aged well because it was filmed on early digital, and it's basically like it's like a low tier fucking YouTube video when it comes like. See, that's the thing. I think I was discussing this on the last this is actually the second to last Halloween stream. I've got a 2K quality of fucking Hellraiser, and Hellraiser is not exactly a fucking big blockbuster film, but I've got a 2K quality. It's a fucking great film. But if I want to watch 28 Days Later, a film that just came out like, what is it, like fucking 10 years ago? That film looks like shit. What? It's fucking horrible. And Matt is going to do his impression of Jin Gobe sucking a 9-year-old black cock.
No, don't say Jim Goat's name too many times, or he'll appear.
Yeah.
Well, then you get to laugh at him.
I mean,
By the way,
I made the mistake of saying the GameCube sucks 3 times and Undertow appeared.
Yeah.
I'm guessing you all saw the stream where me and, of all people, Beardson, Hubris, Nick Fuentes, and Baked Alaska pushed his shit in.
I saw part of it last night.
Baked Alaska, am I right?
When I caught part of it was when Nick Fuentes was trying to explain to everybody that maybe smearing a on your chest out of shit is maybe not going to win people over. Like, he was basically trying to explain, like, you know, like, quit making fools of yourself and maybe you'd win more people over. And everyone's calling him an optics cuck. I don't even like Fuentes that much, and I'm feeling very empathetic towards him all of a sudden, so I turned it off. And then I kept hearing everyone talk about how great it was, so I went back in and I watched some of the earlier stuff in it, because that stream went on for like 18 fucking hours.
Yeah.
And I watched some of the earlier stuff where Beardson and his buddy were pushing Jim Goat shit in, and that was funny. Jim Goat is like the epitome of mad on the internet.
I'm going to mention this to Matt, but I felt watching that stream, it almost felt like throwing like a 70-year-old into an Xbox Live party chat. It's like fucking NRL. You've basically got several guys saying, "Yeah, Jim, why did you suck off a fucking 9-year-old black dude for 3 hours?" Like, I finished a work stream, and I checked my fucking stream, and I'm like, "Oh shit! This looks like fucking Bloodsports. There's Beardson and there's Matt. I'll click on that." And I'm like, for the next 2 hours, I just thought, wow, like, Baked Alaska gets his redemption arc. It's like, here's the thing, he's dim-witted as fuck, but that's the thing. Jim Goad is almost this weird bizarro zone. If you act dim to him, he doesn't get it. He's like an old man. Like, do you know what you need to do? You just need to shit talk him. Just like give him Xbox Live tier fucking insults, and he won't get it. It's like Baked will say for like 10 minutes, "Oh yeah, what's the question?" It's like, "Oh, is Jesus Christ?" Like, can you repeat the question? It's fucking brilliant. It was the best stream I've ever seen.
Yeah, I mean, where were you when Luke Ford, of all people, revived Internet Blood Sports? Because he had another one on his stream show inadvertently earlier today. Brian Proctor came on and was going to shit talk Luke Ford, but then they became friends. And then that Joachim retard from Heel Turn, the one who was saying "Sig fucking hail" on Twitter and talking about how Richard Spencer's going to run for president, he came on, and then he and Bryden got into a massive match where Bryden pushed his shit in.
The weirdest thing I ever saw on Bloodsports, because you just reminded me of it when you said he came on to attack Luke Ford. There was, I want to say it was a Ralph retort thing, because I only saw like the clips, the clips channels. But like Boogie 2988, which we all remember, everyone was making fun of him for being a cuck and all this other stuff. He goes on there, and like Medicare was there, Ralph was there, a bunch of other guys were there. Boogie manages to completely win the room. Like Boogie wins Jim over to like be on, and then V was on there trying to shit on Boogie, and Boogie just pushed V's shit in so bad. It was the weirdest. It's like watching one of those wrestling like matches where the little guy just inadvertently pins the champ.
It's pure.
The little guy is a bit ironic talking about Boogie, but
you've got Jim Goad, who is not dumb, and then you've got Baked Alaska, who is dim-witted, but he just comes off as the plucky hero. It's like, I'm being honest, I've never laughed as much when you've got Jim Goad saying, "Oh yeah, Baked, do you believe in hell?" And Baked just says, "Yeah, what's the question? Oh, is it where you're going to hell for signal?"
100 pussies won't wash the gay off your faggot dick. You're going to hell.
It's like Baked. He just goes full on like this. He may as well be playing Call of Duty Modern Warfare. He's just shit talking for 2 hours. It's just, and I feel bad for Luke Ford. I mean, I mean, is he related to Henry Ford? Because he's managed to streamline the process of Jim Goad getting fucking a train run on him for fucking 2 hours.
The blood sports assembly line.
Yeah, this is the blood sports assembly line. Just
Yeah. What happened was that stream was supposed to be about a serious discussion about logical fallacies and how to debate. Like an hour in, Luke Ford is apparently friends with Goat in real life, so he invites Goat on, and the first thing Goat starts doing is shit talking me. People are like people are emailing me and shit. It's like, hey, Luke, Goat is going off on you on Ford's show, and I'm actually getting ready to go to bed. I'm like, I don't really want to do this, but then I decide to get the link out to a few people. Now, I did not give it to Beardson or anyone like that, but I did give it to John Steele. I did give it to Dashing Rogue. I did give it to a certain individual of mine who may have fed it on to more people. And then I show up, and then Goad goes off on me, and then the entire crew shows up, and we would just take turns wailing on the motherfucker. And then you may send the tail end of the debate. One of the guys who got the link and was subsequently kicked off the call, he decides to go and post a Hangouts link on Twitter, and a bunch of Discords. So everyone raids the stream, and so you had you had 50, 70 some odd people trying to come on the stream, all trying to call Jim Goat a faggot, and Luke Ford has to hurriedly go and ban them.
I'll give Jim Goad. I said this to Steele. I'll give Jim Goad this one credit. He stayed that long after having a train run on him. I mean, there was a rumor, actually, I was going to say, was his house going to be nicknamed Little Detroit with the amount of black boys being run to and from it? Because it's like, how do you fucking explain this guy? He just got mean.
See, that's the thing. I can't even tell a meme from reality with this guy. Did this guy actually suck some black dude's dick or whatever?
No, he did. He paid he paid $5.
As he said, he wrote about it. Remember, he wrote about it.
Yeah, it's like, Matt, can I pay you 5 nigger blowjobs dollars? We're gonna have to we'll start doing measurements in fucking Jim Goad black blowjobs.
Good lord.
Yeah, you know what he's particularly upset about?
I don't even know what this guy's famous for. Like, I never heard of him till Forney was talking about it, because Matt, you have way more hipsterish taste in fucking books than I do. So, like, I don't know what this guy even is. And then, like, I think the first time I ever saw him was that debate you and Davis had with him, and like, wow, he's like nuts. I don't even like watching him. Like, I know a lot of people think it's funny but I don't. There's something about him that genuinely disgusts me.
Well, I was going to ask you, Matt, have you seen John Steele's re-upload of the original debate? It's 55 comments, and almost 2/3 of them are just Jim Goad replying to people.
Yeah, I've seen that, and he's trying to cozy up to John Steele as well. It's like, oh, John, you're cool. It's like blah blah blah, and he's thanking him for also being friends with Ann Sturzinger, and Steele is. Steele doesn't like Goat. I'll leave it at that. He doesn't like Goat if you ask him about it privately and, well, publicly as well. What Goat is really upset about is the fact that nobody believes the story he staked his reputation on, Sturzinger getting raped, because, she found the only homeless black rapist in the world who uses a condom and all this stuff.
Well, the guy doesn't want to be rude about it. That's
yeah. Well, yeah, he wanted to force.
He's evil but polite.
He wanted to forcibly take Anne, but he didn't want to give her HIV.
You don't want to be.
But the condom. The condom. But he didn't use a condom after all, because while there was a condom wrapper on the floor, there was also semen inside of her. I'm guessing the force of his penetration just caused the condom to spontaneously vaporize inside her vagina.
Well, maybe Jim wanted a taste of the black kid, apparently.
And Goat is super invested in this. I don't know if anyone caught this during the stream, but again, he did another fuck up. He claims that he, quote, fucked the shit out of Ann Sturzinger not long after she was purportedly raped, which is a pretty bad thing to do, to sexually manipulate a recent rape victim. But hey, he literally can't help himself. Like, the dude's a smackhead. The dude is losing control of his critical faculties. And he just, if you pay attention and give him enough rope, he eagerly hangs himself, which is what he did a couple nights ago.
Well, I look forward to him striking my channel in the next couple days since we're talking about him.
Yeah, I'll end on it.
I mean,
I reckon his farts sound like heavy breathing after that fucking stint in prison.
Oh, dude.
Oh, don't worry.
I'll say that I said this numerous times, and I'll say it again. I think a good measure of, and it's not perfect. It's not perfect, but a good measure of a man is when you see him on camera. Especially if there's someone that's on camera a lot, and you can't just say they're nervous on camera. Turn the sound off and watch their mannerisms. And you have this little part of the back of your brain. This little caveman in the back of your brain. It's just all instinct, that lizard hindbrain. And it's going to tell you things. Your spider sense is going to go off there. And because it's very well adapted on figuring out, on reading other people and just read the body language. And I'm sorry, man. Goat is one of those guys, and maybe I'm wrong. I don't know anything about the guy other than what I'm hearing. So, before you try and strike my channel, Jim, maybe I'm wrong about you. I don't know. But what I read off of his mannerisms legitimately gives me a chill. The kind I haven't felt since. Remember that guy Ghoul from TRS? Remember him? Well, his name was very fitting, in my opinion. That guy legitimately gave me a chill. And there's very few times when my spider sense really goes off just watching somebody. Spencer's another one, but not as bad. And it's not perfect. You can misread people and all, but don't ignore it. Don't ignore that. And just, I tell you what I see from just watching Goad, what I see from his body language. Yeah, that's not somebody I want to have to interact with at all.
Well, yeah, have you noticed how his face always beat red, and it always gets redder whenever he gets angry? He looks like the devil. Actually, Bryden came on the stream, and you may have missed this part. He accused Goat of looking like a testicle, which set him off right immediately.
You know who is actually pretty big and famous that I can't stand their body language is Ben Shapiro. Ben Shapiro looks like Ben Shapiro is pure fucking evil, if I had to guess. And again, this isn't even about the politics of it. But yeah, I think Ben Shapiro's, Israel first politics are horse shit. And I probably disagree with Jim Goad or Richard Spencer or Ghoul on a ton of things politically, but that ain't even what it's about. Just as people, they look like, oh my God, somebody in the chat just said Jim Goad looks like those nudist scam aliens from Futurama. He totally fucking does. Remember the aliens that could sniff out a value, and they were the scammer aliens.
Oh yeah. I remember that. I'm muted because I'm actually brushing my teeth.
Yeah, he totally looks like that. Holy shit, dude.
Yeah, it's funny because I never had really watched anything he was involved in before this debate because despite his. The dude, like I said, he's clearly going senile because he tries to categorize everyone who criticizes him as some sort of jilted fan when, yeah, I liked his books years ago. I read Shit Magnet when I was in my early 20s, 20, I think, and I really liked his writing, and it was an influence on me. But I had stopped paying attention to him for a long time before that, just because I moved on and found my own interests changed. The first time I paid any attention to him in a couple of years was when I did that live stream criticizing his article he wrote, and that's the thing that set him off.
He can't accuse me of that. I know who the fuck this guy was before you were talking about him. So,
what he'll end up just doing is Googling everything he ever done and start searching on your social media. He did it to Dashing Rogue because if you Dashing Rogue was arguing with Scode on the steel mirror of the debate, and the first thing Go does is seek out Dashing Rogue on Twitter and oh, you're just a Jedi creep and and he's arguing with Anglophiles show your face, bro, you anonymous coward. It's not something that he's literally doing the whole fight me in IRL thing. The dude has no idea how to deal with internet culture. like after the debate and during it, the Twitter's just flooded with memes of him, like, about him sucking black cock, and also he's bragging about his girlfriend too. He's like, "Oh, I've got the most beautiful girlfriend in the world, Lindsay, and she's better than anything you'll get." And he posted her Instagram, and it's this disgusting white trash cokehead, single mother, stripper, who is probably in her late 40s. Like, this chick is nasty. I wouldn't fuck her with Jim's goat and Luke Ford pushing.
Jesus.
I wish we had Luke here so he could throw the pictures up. The Christian Luke, not the Jewish Luke.
Like I said, I didn't know anything about him. I didn't even watch all that stream because I don't even like watching him. I don't like interacting with Goat. It's just like I feel like I need a shower. Like, that's the thing, man. I don't like. I'm not gonna back and forth argue with you either, Goat. If you hear this, like, just leave me alone. I'm not gonna sit here and get caught up in a fucking
or his sock puppets, or his sock puppets. Because I've caught him using two.
Yeah, what was the one, Dan or something?
Tom Carson, and I caught him using a second one because I started getting suspicious comments on my YouTube channel from someone named John Brome that sounded very much like Jim Goad. And if you look at the debate on Luke Ford's channel, the first name of Goad's account, the account he's on, is named John. And because I was in the hangout, I could see John Brome was in that video hangout. So John Brome and Tom Carson are two of his sock puppet accounts that he uses to troll people. But because this is the same guy who, like, whenever you come at him and you're like anonymous, he'll be like, "Show your face, use your real name."
No. See, you say use it to troll people. That's not accurate. See, I used to have fucking burner accounts that I trolled people with. I used to have like MGTOW Link on fucking Twitter, and then alt-right Link, and then I had fucking, what was the other one, like Nazi Kirby or something like that. Like, I had those fucking troll accounts, and nobody knew it was me. Like, I would tell, like, you or Luke or something, you didn't know it was me, even though I would interact with you with that account a whole bunch of times, because I used to just troll. It used to be just for shits and giggles. Like, I would make fun of myself on it a lot.
Yeah,
like,
but you're also not like hunting down every single critic of yours on.
It wasn't a sock puppet account to be like, "Oh, guys, you don't understand, that Bechtloff guy is actually really cool." No, it was just something to screw around with. That's what trolling is, okay? No, this is some sock puppet shit.
Yeah, it's fucking Yeah, and I caught him lying about the one, and he's trying to play it off like, et cetera. It's like, fucking weirdo. What a sad, pathetic old man. And even when he has a line of attack on me that might work, he always fucks it up because his number one concern here is fucking my sloppy seconds. I hate talking about it like this, but it's the fucking truth.
So you fucked that black guy first?
Yeah, I hit it first, I guess. But yeah, he's obsessed with defending Sturzinger against the accusations that we were in a relationship. It's not an accusation; it's kind of the facts. But whenever he tries to get on a line of attacking me against me, it might work. Like the supposed claims that I was involved in a plot to bring Antifa down on an Ann Coulter vet, which is wrong, by the way. He can't stay on that. He always goes back to the sex thing. It's like I feel it's like 3 years ago, and I'm dealing with Sturzinger on another drunken meltdown. Only this time, she's got a dick and a face like a gigantic testicle.
That's not really.
She wrote an article about it. Just apparently, I saw it when I woke up. In which is, I was not accused. I'm not lying about rape. And Matt and people are saying, why would I lie about rape just to make Matt Forney look uncompassionate? I don't know, because you're psycho and Jim Goad is also psycho. You're not normal people. Hey, by the way, answer the question. Like, why you had a black rapist, homeless black rapist who used a condom? Answer the question, which she conspicuously won't do.
Ugh. This whole thing's just like it's so fucking
Absurd, retarded.
yeah. I'm like I said, I didn't even know who Jim Goad was before all this, and I kind of wish I could go back to those more innocent time of not knowing that Jim Goad existed. Like that, those halcyon days of yore. It was a more innocent time.
Yeah, you and me both, Bechtloff. You and me both.
But like I said, the Daily Sweat guy is pushing his shit in. That was pretty funny because they're so. I've really grown to love the Daily Sweat guys, and my first interaction with Goldman wasn't one I consider positive, but I've grown to like those guys because they're just so ridiculously not serious, and it's so wonderful when you're dealing with somebody who's like 3 feet up his own ass. Like they just can't handle that.
They're just beautiful at taking people like Jim Goad down. They have the perfect replies to like just about anything like people like him would throw out. Like Goad is going off about how I supposedly tried to help Antifa take down this Ann Coulter event, and Beardson replies, "Awesome, I love Antifa."
By the way, British James had to duck out to go to bed, but everybody, just so you know. Somebody in the chat says Goad said he screwed Anne and then sent her packing.
Yeah, that's exactly one of the quotes. He said, "I fucked the shit out of her and then kicked her out to L.A.," which is for someone who claims to be compassionate and ethical over a recent rape victim is that's a pretty slimy thing to do. By the way, I'm going to clip that and put it on my YouTube channel so Goad can't deny it.
Somebody else says, Bechtloff, talk about the 2 Norwegian girls killed by ISIS.
This was in Morocco, right?
Yeah, weren't they? They were down there like, oh, we're going to help them or some dumb shit like that, and then they got their heads cut off.
I think they were doing hiking in the Atlas Mountains, and some ISIS militants like found them and cut their heads off, and like.
Well, I mean, don't go.
How
hiking.
could this have ever happened?
Yeah, don't go hiking in ISIS controlled regions, maybe.
Yeah, especially if you're a fucking single white woman. I mean, I could probably handle it without any issues. I still wouldn't do it, but.
Yeah, don't. Whatever. I didn't pay much attention to it. I mean, you know.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much to say. It's like dumb liberal white girls go do dumb things and they win dumb prizes.
Let's see. Going to the chat, Cena. Okay. Oh man. Yeah, I'm probably gonna watch the end of that, or more of that stream. Like I said, I'm not much of a Nick Fuentes fan, but I felt his pain trying to explain to people, like, yeah, maybe you shouldn't smear a swastika in shit on your chest and run around. Maybe that doesn't do anything.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's not really worth watching. I mean, after Beardson and Sean got kicked, it got kind of boring. That was most of the serious debate you mentioned between Fuentes and Goad and this other retard from Heel Turn. And then eventually everyone either gets kicked or leaves except for Ford and me. And then Ford starts bringing in all these weird-ass, like, probable Fed guests who are roasting me for being quote-unquote Jewy because I'm answering questions in with multi-syllabic words. And then there's like one guy who comes on and is accusing me of being a secret cross-dresser because years ago I wrote a joke Christian red pill woman manosphere blog to troll people. It's like, we've got the screenshots on ED. It's like, I don't even have a page on ED, you fucking idiot.
Yeah, well, you know, I was talking, I can't remember if this was on a stream or not, but I was talking with somebody recently, and I was, you know, when there was that victory in 2016, you know, that night on this channel, I was saying, okay, what everybody needs to be focusing on how you know, leverage this to further victories. You should be trying to get, you know, people, you know, the alt-right in the broad sense of the term, you know, the dissident right needs to be trying to get like-minded people into every level of office they can. And they completely squandered that momentum by, you know, having tiki torch rallies and fucking their mother-in-law. You know, the religious right learned a lesson in the early 80s. You know, in the late 70s into the early 80s, they mustered their forces, and they were a major force in helping to get Reagan elected. And then for a while, they sat back thinking that, you know, now they got this guy as president, and all their dreams are going to come true. And they didn't pan out that way. And by the mid to late 80s, they had adapted and realized, okay, we need to get better at getting people in local levels. And for a while, into the 90s, they were a force to be reckoned with because of that. And there's just none of that on at least none of it I see in kind of the dissident right. I see a bunch of people squabbling over who gets to be the last guy to be thrown off YouTube. And that's not going to get anybody anywhere. It might make a few people a couple of bucks, but it's not going to get anybody anywhere.
Yeah, it's basically, well, I'm enjoying it while it goes down because we're basically flushing out all of the bad actors and all of the people who are self-destructive. Like, if you have time, watch the stream that Luke Ford did I guess technically yesterday because it was on Sunday, when Bryden Proctor came on, was arguing with that Joachim idiot from, or Joe Cum, as Bake calls him, from Heel Turn, and Bryden's trying to put the point. You've got Richard Spencer hosting a show on your network now, Heel Turn. He's gonna fuck your shit up sometime in the next 6 months. You gave Richard Spencer a show, and he's gonna fucking ruin you in some way.
I would not let Richard Spencer appear on this show. And I know, okay, Bechtloff, you're this tiny show. He wouldn't appear on you anyways. No, the point of that is, even though that would be a big old boost and I get more exposure that way, I wouldn't do it because he's more trouble than he's fucking worth. That guy is a monkey's paw, and everybody who wishes upon him gets a curse.
Well, it's like I would have liked to hop in on that. I was actually on that stream briefly, but this was before all the fireworks got started. But I wanted to reinforce the point. Spencer is the absolute best thing that could happen to Heel Turn with Spencer on it is that Spencer just gets lazy and stops doing the show. But more likely, he's probably going to get them deplatformed from. They're already, from what I understand, deplatformed from. They can't monetize their YouTube channel. They can't receive super chats, despite the fact they have like 10,000 subscribers. Eventually, they're going to get themselves kicked off of YouTube altogether, PayPal or whatever they're using for the Streamlabs tips. So yeah, and this Joachim is going to be like, oh, Spencer tripled our numbers. Like, yeah, he tripled your numbers because everyone wants to go see a nice train wreck.
I would not. I wouldn't let him on here. I wouldn't let him anywhere near me. I would, yeah. You know, you talk about like the countries he's banned from. If I had, you know, if I was a leader politically, any region I have dominion over, he's not allowed in because that motherfucker is cursed. And he's cursed in a way that doesn't directly affect him most of the time. Everybody around him has to pay.
Well, I mean, I'd say he's paying in a sense because
he's starting to now, but I mean, for the longest time, I mean, hell, look at Charlottesville. I mentioned it right after the fact. I'm like, you know, Cantwell got thrown off of everything from YouTube to OkCupid, and nothing happened to Spencer. You know, he was fucking some whore while everyone who he led down there was having their lives destroyed.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's
frankly the only surprising thing about that is that he was fucking some whore and not some boy pussy.
Yeah, Faith Goldie, and he's going off after her as well.
Of course.
Pretty, lacking in character.
Yeah, like I said, I wouldn't let that guy in. I would want nothing to do. I would just pretend like I don't know he exists. Like Richard Spencer, who's that?
Richard Spencer, is he the Lebanese guy from Jihad Watch?
Is this a new Smash fighter they announced? Because I hadn't heard of Joker before they announced him. So the Persona 5 guy. So is Richard? Is that from Persona 5? I haven't played that weeb shit. Oh man, I've been going on forever here tonight. Holy crap! All right, well, I'm probably gonna go ahead and wrap this up then. Well, Forney, thanks for hopping in. No, it's what time is it over there? What is this like?
It's actually noon, so I actually just woke up.
Oh man, I never can tell what you're so far off from me time zone wise. I can never tell anymore.
Well, yeah, well, it's an interesting fact is that I'm in Georgia, and Georgia's an Orthodox Christian country, so they celebrate Christmas on January 7th. So today and tomorrow are actually just going to be regular days here. Not necessarily for me, but for the rest of everyone else.
Well, speaking of which, I guess technically later tonight, since it's technically Christmas Eve here on the East Coast, and in about 3 minutes in the entirety of the country, later tonight, Christmas Eve night, at probably around 10ish, I'll be doing a stream. Just, another bullshit Christmas stream. And yeah, and everybody, I hope you all have a great Christmas, and yeah, that's about all I got for tonight. I want to thank you all for listening. Bechtloff out.